Okay, good morning everyone. Welcome to Byju's Exam Prep IAS. This is Shyam Kagodia. Before I start the discussion, if there is no issue with the sound, can you please let me know? Give me a thumbs up or put in a comment section that it is clear to you so that we can start the discussion. Okay, done. Thanks a lot. Let's start. So last week, that is on Friday, what we started with the chapter on subsidies. Correct? We started with the chapter on subsidies. Now, what we have discussed in the subsidy so far. Subsidy in simple terms is nothing but it is an assistance given by the government. Given by the government for what purpose? It can be for social welfare purpose. It can be to promote consumption of good inputs. It can be for, let's say individuals. It can be for a household. It can be for, let's say even for a company also. Now, after that, why? What is the reason we are giving it? Already seen. If they are giving the subsidies, then what are the issues? What is the problem if government provides a lot of subsidies? As usual, straightforward, you can simply say, whenever government will provide subsidies, its revenue expenditure will be very higher, revenue expenses will be very higher, and the subsidy bill will also lead to a higher fiscal deficit for the government. That is one, as usual, concern. Apart from that, if I do not provide subsidies to the right beneficiaries, those who require, and if there's a ill targeting of the beneficiaries, then also, right, it is not a right way to provide subsidies. It can lead to certain inefficiencies in the market. Imbalance can be created. Supply and demand forces can be, let's say, impacted because of the subsidy policy, etc. Then we have discussed the classification of subsidies: direct, indirect, the concept of the implicit subsidies, explicit subsidies, the targeted universal subsidies, etc. We have discussed all of it. Then we looked at certain types of subsidies, that is a fertilizer subsidy. In fertilizer subsidy, what is the basic idea? We require a lot of fertilizers. Fertilizers are nothing but the chemical inputs. What is a requirement? Because we want to attain certain height, right? Let's say certain kind of a growth in a plant, etc. And for that, the plants would require certain amount of nutrients from the soil. And whenever the nutrients availability in the soil is not sufficient, it will be supplied artificially through the concept of fertilizers. And whenever we have fertilizers, government will provide subsidies either to the domestic manufacturers as well as the importers. And in the context of subsidies, the three very important subsidies, in fertilizers, the three very important fertilizers are urea, at the market name is urea. Apart from that, we have a diammonium phosphate as well as muriate of potash. And I said out of all the three, we import all the three, but the highest imported is urea, highest consumed is urea, highest physically controlled is again urea. And apart from this, we also import muriate of potash. Domestically, we don't produce it. Reason being, the raw materials which are required are not available. Those are not available in India. Hence, we will import it. We will import it into India. So we will import all the three fertilizers. And in the context of subsidies, it's very simple. Subsidies are provided for urea based on the cost of production. That is basically government will control the market price. Government decides MRP. Government controls the MRP, and whatever is the difference between the government decided MRP and the cost of production, including profit, by the way, will be given by the government in the form of subsidies. Whereas in the context of the DAP as well as MOP, government will decide it based on a subsidy regime called as a nutrient-based subsidy regime, NBS, has been introduced in India post 2010. Nutrient-based regime, right? And under the nutrient-based regime, government will basically decide subsidies per kg of nutrient. I'll repeat the statement. Look at the name itself, nutrient-based regime. So based on the quantity of the nutrients that you're consuming to manufacture a fertilizer, government will decide based on that. And so for potassium per kg, how much it is decided. For nitrogen per kg, subsidy is decided. So if you consume 10 kg of nitrogen, 10 kg of phosphorus, government will calculate per kg and give it to you in the form of subsidy. That concept is called as a nutrient-based subsidy. Now, in context of addressing the issue of subsidies in fertilizer, because One, what are the issues in fertilizer subsidy? It is not a very efficient methodology whenever we provide subsidies under urea. Reason being, lot of subsidies are provided, huge amount of subsidies provided by the government. Urea prices are very, very low in India. Urea prices are very, very low compared to other fertilizers. And that is a precise reason farmers end up consuming lot of urea, very high quantity of urea. And that has certain implications. Implications in the sense, fertility of the soil is affected in long duration or long term. We have also discussed the concept of nitrogen flowing into the ponds, lakes, etc. Eutrophication, algal blooms will be created, etc. So, in order to address the issues in fertilizers, Government of India is trying out multiple measures. For example, one I have mentioned but not yet discussed, the concept of liquid fertilizers, that is nano fertilizers. We'll discuss that under agriculture, which is the next chapter. apart from that, government is also trying out the concept of direct benefit transfer in fertilizers, and that is where we stopped last week that discussion. Now let me continue. I hope you remember there was a concept which I've mentioned last week called as direct benefit transfer. What is this idea of a direct benefit transfer? Under direct benefit transfer, government says we are going to identify the beneficiaries. Whoever is the right beneficiary, we are going to identify the beneficiary, and to this beneficiary we will simply transfer the benefit, that is subsidy, either in the form of a cash or in the form of a non-cash, that is in kind. They will say either cash means money is paid, or non-cash, which is also referred to as a kind subsidy. Kind subsidy. So either a cash subsidy or a kind subsidy, we will identify the right beneficiary and will transfer the benefit to the right beneficiary. That is a concept of a direct benefit transfer. And as as an initiative, this was launched by the Government of India in 2013 and 2014. For example, please have a look at it. I'll come back to this slide. Please do not panic. In 2013 and 2014, I said Government of India launched DBT. Initially, very few schemes were brought under DBT, but over a period of time, multiple schemes, more than 300 schemes today are present under the direct benefit transfer. And like I've said, the DBT can cover both the cash subsidies as well as the non-cash subsidies as well. For example, all of you heard of PM Kisan? Please do let me know. All of you heard of PM Kisan? And all of you heard of Manrega? All of you heard of National Food Security Act, Pradhana Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana? These are some. And again, I don't expect you to by heart all the 300 schemes. That is not required. But at least remember some of them. Right? So those which are there in the current affairs automatically, these will come under the concept of direct benefit transfer itself. So total funds which have been transferred under the cash schemes over a period of time, you can have a look at the data. Please do not by heart anything. Please do not by heart any data here. That is not important. Because from 1 year to next year, how many schemes are under the DBT, it will change. How much funds are transferred under DBT, that will also change. So you do not have to by heart the numbers here. So in-kind schemes, that is where non-cash subsidies are provided. Even that also has a lot of, right, let's say expenditure, or a lot of funds are transferred under the direct benefit transfer. And before I go forward, right, one or two points here. Many of you later, when you're looking at the table, you will have certain doubts. Doubts as in, sir, how can the number of schemes keep on changing? How can number of schemes keep on changing? Specifically, how can the number of schemes keep on reducing under the coverage? Right? Naturally, it should keep on increasing, but why is it reducing? For a very simple reason, please understand. All of you will be okay if I say over a period of time, Government of India will discontinue some of the schemes. Government of India will merge some of the schemes. And when government will discontinue, merge, consolidate the schemes, etc., automatically the number of schemes which are covered under the DBT, direct benefit transfer, will also change. Anybody has a doubt, please do let me know. That is point number one. And second doubt that you generally will have later when you're reading, because you will generally not focus, that is the reason. You will see that number of beneficiaries under the direct benefit transfer is 160 crore. Let's say hypothetically 160, I'm rounding off the number. Someone will basically say, but sir, Our population is not 160 crore. Our population is not 160 crore, but how can we have beneficiaries who are 160 crore? Even if I cover all the people in India, one or the other way, in one or the other scheme, if I cover all the people in India, I'm not going to hit 160 crore population. How can there be number of beneficiaries equal to 160 crore? Please look at the first column. Please look at the last part of the first column, you will realize it. Eligible beneficiaries who are non-unique. All of you okay with the term non-unique here? Eligible beneficiaries who are non-unique means what? I as a beneficiary can be covered in Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, Manrega, as well as National Food Security Act. So can I simply say I'll be counted as 3 beneficiaries under all the 3 schemes? Please do let me know. I'll repeat the example again. I can be a beneficiary under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. I can be a beneficiary under National Food Security Act, and I can also be a beneficiary under PM Kisan. So under PM Kisan, I'm one beneficiary, and under Awas Yojana, I'm one beneficiary. So I'll be counted as 3 beneficiaries. So that is the reason you will see that the total number of beneficiaries is more than the population. Please do not be confused. Please do not be confused. Okay. So these are certain points. Now, what is the use of DBT? Why has Government of India implemented direct benefit transfer? Very simple. Point number 1, we want to identify accurately. We want to identify the beneficiaries. Who are the right beneficiaries we want to identify and ensure that only these beneficiaries will get the subsidy. So now please look at the earlier examples. Please look at earlier examples. Fertilizers, we are implementing direct benefit transfer. LPG subsidy, we are implementing direct benefit transfer. A very simple question to you people. If I identify who is the right beneficiary, eliminate wrong beneficiaries under the subsidy scheme, can I simply say automatically the subsidy expenditure will come down? Subsidy expenditure will come down in the sense, I'll give a very simple example. Imagine earlier there were 2 beneficiaries. I'll take a very simple example so that automatically you understand it. Earlier there are 2 beneficiaries under LPG scheme. Now let's say this person has a earning of more than 10 lakh per annum. This person or this household has a earning of more than 10 lakh rupee per annum, and government says if you are earning more than 10 lakh rupee per annum, if a household is earning more than that, I will not give you LPG subsidy. So now I will identify the beneficiary and I will not give LPG subsidy for the household B. So our expenses, our LPG subsidy should have been more, but I'm going to reduce, I'm going to save certain subsidies. I'm going to save certain subsidies because I'm explaining this all in detail because some of the students will be confused later. I said government will reduce the subsidy expenditure, but you will read in the newspaper the LPG subsidy expenditure in the last 3 years has been increasing, and you will come to a conclusion I'm wrong or they are wrong. Both of us are correct. I'll give you a very simple idea here. Listen very carefully. In this case, let's say I was supposed to give 300 LPG rupee subsidy for both of the household, which means my LPG subsidy expenses should have been 600 rupees. And let's say over a period of time, I've launched a PM Ujjwala scheme, etc., etc. As a result of this, now I will eliminate household B. I will not give any subsidy for household B, but rather than this, now I'll give subsidy for household C as well as household D. So 300, 300, 300, total subsidy expenditure is 900. Now please have a look at it. If you look at the data, you will realize that subsidy expenditure has increased. But can I also say I have made a savings of 300 rupees subsidy by identifying the right beneficiary and providing subsidies for them? I'll repeat both of the statements. Please listen carefully. From here to here, if this is example 1 and this is example 2, can I say 2 things? 1, the subsidy expenditure has increased. Point number 1. And point number 2, can I also say I have made a savings of 300 rupees subsidy by identifying the right beneficiary and transferring the subsidies to the right beneficiary. Can I go forward now? Anybody has difficulty in understanding this? Can I go forward? Either say yes or no. One of the 2 things have to happen. Either yes or no. There is no gray area. Either it is white or black. I've identified the right beneficiary. B is not the right beneficiary. So I will not give 300 rupees. I will not give 300 rupees to B, which means I am saving this 300 rupee. I've identified C as a poor household. I've identified D as a poor household. So I will give subsidies for A, C and D. So if I look from example 1 to example 2, my subsidy expenditure has increased. Any problem here? My subsidy expenditure has increased. And second, by identifying B and eliminating B as a beneficiary, I have saved 300 rupee subsidy. I have saved 300 rupee subsidy, right? Some of you are saying, sir, you have written 30 rupee, right? A number should be different. So 300, 300, 300. So that is basically the idea of a direct benefit transfer. That is how they will use the statement, because some of you will simply say, sir, government says they are saving 1.3 lakh crore rupee annually under DBT. How? By eliminating wrong beneficiaries, by removing the duplicate beneficiaries, they will be able to identify and save subsidies. Second, transparency in the fund transfer to the beneficiaries. Now funds are transferred into bank account. Funds are transferred into bank account. So from one bank account to another bank account. So there is a transparency. You can clearly identify to which accounts the funds are going. So transparency. Curbing of leakages in order to provide benefits, in order to provide welfare to the people. Leakages means corruption, where subsidies were not given directly to the beneficiaries. Subsidies, part of it or none of it, would go to beneficiaries. Next one, creation of greater accountability for the government. Right? Government officials will have to show all of this data. Increase efficiency in promoting the efficient delivery process. Implementation of the schemes will be much better now. Beneficiaries, who is the right beneficiary, will get subsidies now. So efficiency of the scheme will automatically improve. Right? So all these are basically the outcomes, the benefits of direct benefit transfer. And some of you are asking, sir, in which book all of this is given? These are not from the book. I've taken all of this data from economic survey. I've taken all of this data from economic survey, right? All of you have heard of economic survey? Right? Wait for some time, you'll get the economic survey. Hopefully, although elections are there, hopefully, let's assume in the month of January, you will get the economic survey, right? So all of this data I've taken from economic survey. Books generally don't carry all of this information. Okay, now, whenever you talk about direct benefit transfer, when you're talking about direct benefit transfer, you'll also come across one more concept within DBT, under DBT, called as JAM Trinity. It is part of DBT only. That is, how do we implement a direct benefit transfer? The schemes are there. How do we implement the schemes? There is a concept called as enablers of direct benefit transfer. That is, what are we using? What tools are we using to effectively implement a direct benefit transfer? One such tool is called as a JAM Trinity. JAM basically is three terminologies: Janadhan, Aadhaar and mobile. Janadhan, Aadhaar and mobile. JAM Trinity. And if you want to understand, sir, what other tools apart from JAM, what else are we using to implement direct benefit transfer? Government of India's data says we are going to use a JAM Trinity, and then we are going to use business correspondence or bank sathis. Do you remember this? Please do let me know. We are going to use a bank sathis. In fact, government also says we might use a payment banking system in order to implement a direct benefit transfer. How so? Let's try and understand how so. How JAM Trinity is useful in implementation of direct benefit transfer. Point number one, if you remember earlier, whenever you talk about schemes under direct benefit transfer, schemes under DBT, there are two types of schemes. One, where cash is provided, where cash subsidy is provided, or where kind subsidy is provided. Where cash subsidy is provided, where kind subsidy, kind means non-cash benefit, non-cash subsidies. Can I give you one example under both of them? Think of it. Can I give you one example under both of them? So can I say PM Kisan is a cash subsidy where money is given by the government. Direct benefit transfer in LPG is also cash subsidy. Whereas, please do let me know, National Food Security Act, right? That is basically the latest scheme under this, Pradhana Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, PMGKAY, Pradhana Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. So please do let me know if anybody has a doubt. Under PMGKAY, government will not give you cash subsidy, but rather government will give you 5 kg of food grain free of a cost. Can I call this as a kind subsidy? Let me know if anybody has a doubt. Under Pradhana Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, government will not give you money. Government will give you free food grains, 5 kgs of free food grains. So one is kind subsidy, another one is cash subsidy. Now, one more question to all of you. If there is a kind subsidy, if the government is giving you a kind subsidy, do you require a bank account for it? Let me know. If government is providing you a kind subsidy, do you require a bank account for it? Would you require a bank account to get 5 kgs of food grains? Absolutely no. Some of you are saying yes. No, my dear. If you want cash subsidy, only then the government requires a bank account. If you have a kind subsidy, that is 5 kg of food grain, government wants to give you. What is the requirement? What is the mandate? Why should you have a bank account? It doesn't make any sense. I hope you understand. You require ration card. Government will give you different types of ration cards. We'll discuss that also later. Have patience. Right? So understand the logic here. Cash subsidies are there. Bank accounts are required. Kind subsidies are there. Bank accounts are not required for that. You don't require a bank account to get 5 kgs of food grains. So let's assume two types of subsidies are there where bank accounts might be required, bank accounts might not be required. Then how Janadhan Aadhaar Mobile, JAM Trinity is used to implement these schemes. First step is to identify the beneficiary. Government wants to identify the beneficiaries and provide 5 kgs of food grains, or let's say PM Kisan 6,000 rupees to the right beneficiary. How will they identify the right beneficiary? Government says, I will use Aadhaar data. I will use Aadhaar data. Right? Have you come across Aadhaar data in recent times? Please do let me know. Have you come across government using Aadhaar data to identify the right beneficiary? Yes. I'll give you one example. Imagine I'm a beneficiary under National Food Security Act. I'm a beneficiary under National Food Security Act. I will go to a ration shop and I'll provide my thumbprint. All of you okay? I'll go to a ration shop. I will provide my thumbprint. There is a computer. The system will scan my thumbprint, and the system, right, because everything is integrated now, the system will say, I'm a beneficiary under National Food Security Act. And automatically automatically the ration shop owner will give me 5 kgs of food grain. So first step, please understand, government will use Aadhaar database to identify who is the right beneficiary. Now, if this is the right beneficiary, either the kind subsidies are given, directly the kind subsidies are given, or else if cash subsidies are there, government will use Aadhaar database. That is a step number 1 to identify. And step number 2, once the identification is done, the funds will be transferred, the money will be transferred into the bank account of the beneficiary. The funds will be transferred, or the money will be transferred into the bank account of the beneficiary. You can take multiple examples for this. LPG subsidy, PM Kisan, etc., etc. So first identify the beneficiary, then transfer the funds into the bank account of the beneficiary. And now beneficiary will use mobile connectivity to withdraw the funds using internet banking. What is the third pillar? Mobile. Janadhan, right? That is use Aadhaar to identify the beneficiary. Second, the bank accounts have been opened by multiple beneficiaries under Janadhan Yojana. Transfer the funds into the bank account. Third, the beneficiary will use mobile banking to withdraw the funds from the bank account. That is the third one. That is basically the accessibility part to the funds. So all of you okay with how JAM Trinity will basically help us in implementation of direct benefit transfer? Anybody has a problem? First, identify the beneficiary, use Aadhaar. Second, use right the bank accounts to withdraw, transfer the funds, and third one, mobile banking, that is basically help the people to withdraw the funds from the mobile banking. Now many of you are saying, but sir, everybody may not have a smartphone. Now think of it, will the bank Sathi help in this particular problem? Please think of it and let me know. Can the bank Sathi help in addressing this particular problem? Let me know whether this makes sense or not. That is the reason, if you remember earlier when I started, I said even government of India will say bank Sathis are helping in implementation of direct benefit transfer. So agreed. The third pillar, if you look at all the three pillars, it is the third pillar where certain concerns have been raised. Third pillar is the one where concerns have been raised. For example, what if the person does not have a mobile banking? What if the person does not have right, let's say does not have a knowledge how to operate mobile banking but has a smartphone? What if the person doesn't want to use a mobile banking? I hope you understand, concerns have been raised. And please understand, even for the second pillar, very recently certain concerns have been raised. Second pillar, that is transfer of funds into bank account. I hope you're reading about Manrega. I hope you are reading about Manrega. And if you've read about Manrega in the last 1 week, you will know that the same initiative, that is direct benefit transfer, was misused by some of the middlemen. Am I correct with this? The concept of direct benefit transfer was misused by some of the middlemen. By doing what? Fake beneficiaries were created and accounts, online accounts, Airtel accounts were created for these fake beneficiaries. And the funds were transferred into these fake accounts. Have you people read about it? Please do let me know. Either say yes or no. Have you people read about it? And again, it was there in Hindu newspaper, nothing else. Hindu newspaper only in the last 1 week. Certain Airtel accounts were created, fake beneficiaries were created, and these DBT funds were transferred into these particular fake accounts. And some of you are saying, no, sir, I have not read it. My dear, Monday and Tuesday, last week, exactly 7 days ago, Monday and Tuesday, Hindu newspaper, read Manrega articles. Those who are saying, no, I don't know what is the reason. Why are you not reading? I have no idea whatsoever. But if you have not read, if you are yet to read it, last week, Monday and Tuesday, there were multiple articles on Manrega. And there was very big article last week only in Hindu newspaper, Monday and Tuesday, on Manrega. Read that article. This was mentioned there. This was actually mentioned. Fake accounts, fake beneficiaries were created. And because the funds have to go from account to account, they opened bank accounts also, Airtel accounts. And the funds were transferred. Funds were basically transferred. So that was again a leakage. There was again a leakage even under the direct benefit transfer. Okay. Right. So that is basically the argument regarding the JAM Trinity, Janadhan Aadhar Mobile. First pillar, we don't have any problem. Apart from, let's say again, not related to DBT, but let's say there are concerns regarding even privacy under Aadhar. Concerns. Again, I'm not going to delve into Aadhar privacy issues in economics class. Second pillar, very recently, it has been found that there's a potential of misuse. Third one, there is a concern. People may not be in a position to get access to their funds even though you have transferred. I'll give you one more example. How many of you, couple of months ago, not recently, couple of months ago, you can check it later in the Google. How many of you saw an article where finance minister reprimanded, scolded in simple terms, public sector banks in India? The argument that was put forward by finance minister was be human in providing services to poor people. And the background to that was a very old lady who could not walk even properly, was forced to walk multiple kilometers to go to a bank to withdraw pension from the bank account. Check it later. It is there even today in Google also. Check it later. A very old lady who could not even walk was forced to walk multiple kilometers to get access to the pension amount, which again focuses on the third pillar, that is accessibility part. You're basically expecting certain people who do not have any kind of mobile, right? No mobile, or even if they have, they don't know how to operate, and they're not in a position to go also to get access to their bank accounts. Third pillar is one of the very important constraints in India. Is it okay? And that is the precise reason. That is the precise reason. Now there is a new proposal. Look at this very carefully. Current affairs, purely current affairs. There is a new system which has been proposed by the government, e-rupee system. E-rupee system. And when I say e-rupee, this is not the same as e-rupee. This e-rupee is different and this e-rupee is different. Listen to me very carefully. This e-rupee is different and this e-rupee is different. This e-rupee, that is, I'll number so that you understand which e-rupee I'm talking about. 1 and 2. Please observe now. 1 and 2. Second one is a digital money. Second one is a digital rupee. This is also referred to as CBDC. CBDC is central bank digital currency. Central bank digital currency. CBDC is different. And this first e-rupee, number one e-rupee, is a voucher system. It's a digital voucher system. Both are different. Do not be confused. Sir, what is the difference? Let me start with a very simple example. Listen very carefully. You should not have any kind of doubt. Imagine you will go to a restaurant. You will go to, let's say, a shopping complex. You will purchase a lot of clothes. Let's say in a showroom, you will purchase a lot of clothes. And the owner says, sir, because you have purchased 5,000 rupees worth of clothes, here is a 100 rupee voucher. I'm pretty sure all of you have experienced this. Here is 100 rupee voucher. And you will ask the shopkeeper, sir, what is the use of this 100 rupee voucher? And the shopkeeper says, next time when you purchase, whatever money you have to give me, out of that, use this voucher to pay 100 rupees. All of you have experienced this? You will get vouchers, right, in multiple apps also. You will get vouchers in showrooms. You will get vouchers at shopping complexes, etc. So can I simply say voucher is nothing but it represents a certain value. Whenever you purchase something and voucher is issued, it represents a certain value. Using voucher, you can consume certain value in the market. That is basically a concept of voucher. And the first e-rupee, the number one e-rupee is the voucher system. I'll explain that. Second e-rupee, that is a digital rupee, central bank digital currency. It is rupee which is issued by the RBI. This is currency which is issued by Reserve Bank of India. That is, in simple terms, all of you have, I'm pretty sure all of you have physical currency notes. Correct? All of you have got currency notes which are physical in nature. Physical means which have size and shape. You'll open 500 rupee, you have certain size, color is there, shape is there. Physically you can hold it. So RBI, just like many banks around the world, have started issuing digital currency. Rather than issuing physical currency, they have started issuing digital currency now. And that is called as central bank digital currency. That is referred to as a central bank digital currency. And if you ask me, sir, how can I use a CBDC? What is the use of it, etc.? Logic is very simple. You think of it, imagine your RBI governor. Is there a danger that the physical currency notes that you're issuing can be made into fake currency notes? That is, 500 rupee note you're issuing. Somebody will create a fake currency note. 2,000 rupee note you're issuing. Somebody will create a counterfeit of it. But rather than this, what if you issue digital currency? Digital currency simply means you'll have to open an account. You'll have to open a particular CBDC account, wallet. In simple terms, wallet. You'll have to open a wallet with your bank, and RBI will transfer this money, that is digital money, into this wallet. And just like, it's very simple process. Just like using a QR code, you'll make a payment now. I hope you understand. Just like using a QR code, you're making payment. You'll open your mobile, scan a QR code, make a payment. RBI says even you can use the digital wallet or digital money to make same payments. You can simply use this wallet, open the wallet, scan a QR code and make payment. And the money, digital money, will be transferred from one account to another account. So one, issue of counterfeit, issue of fake currency can be addressed. Second one, you think of it. If you're RBI governor, you're printing 2,000 rupee note, will you incur expenditure for it? All of you okay? Will you incur expenditure for it? Of course, yes. You will incur a lot of expenses. Now, instead of printing currency, you will create digital currency. So, cost of printing will be eliminated. You do not have to incur the printing expenses. Right? That is also advantageous for RBI. Third one, can RBI and Government of India promote digital transactions using CBDC? Cashless economy. Cashless means physical currency. Physical currency, can they promote a digital economy, digital transactions using e-rupee? Of course, yes. Right, that can also be done. And fourth very important point is, you'll print the currency note, you will issue it in the market over a period of time. Over a period of time, there will be wear and tear. There will be a damage to currency note. Correct? There will be a damage to currency note. And RBI again has to accept this damaged currency note, print another currency note, issue it in the market. So replacement cost, printing again, right, taking care of damaged notes will also not be there for Reserve Bank of India. So that is the precise reason. That is the precise reason why Reserve Bank of India is promoting the concept of the central bank digital currency or digital rupee in the recent times. Again, concerns are also there. For example, what do you mean by concern? Please do let me know. Have you not seen, especially in rural India, right? Urban India also favorability is there, but especially in rural India, most of the people prefer to conduct transactions in cash. Yes or no? Will you agree or disagree? Please do let me know. Right? Even today, this is a fact, by the way. RBI also has accepted it. People, mostly in rural India, in urban India also, yes, a lot of people are there. People prefer to conduct transactions in cash because they feel they have got very high confidence on cash, physical cash. Now you're asking people to shift from physical cash transaction to digital money. Right? There will be certain resistance. People will say, I don't want to use the digital money transaction. I want to collect payment in the form of cash. I want to make payment in the form of cash. Right? So people generally do not accept it. That is the reason the concept of CBDC has been implemented for more than 1 year now. It's there for more than 1 year, but acceptability even in urban India, because it has been introduced mainly in urban India right now, acceptability is very, very less. For example, let me prove it to you. Let me prove it very simply to you. Please tell me honestly, by the way, how many of you have got a message from your bank saying that you have been selected as a part of CBDC group? Please do let me know. How many of you have got a message from your bank saying that congratulations, you have been selected as a part of the project where we are going to allow you to open a wallet and you will receive digital money from RBI? Many of you would have received, not all of you, but I'm pretty sure many of you would have received it. I've also received it, by the way. And what is the point? Many of the people who have received the invite, even though they have received the invite, they have not joined. They are yet to adopt this idea of a digital wallet. Right? Again, if you've not got it, you can approach your bank. Please approach your bank and say, I want to open a CBDC account, CBDC wallet. They will help you out. They will help you out. It's simply, they will have to connect it and you will have to open a wallet. You will have to download an app that is a wallet. Connection has to be done. That's it. Right? So that is also very easy method. But again, the concern is people are yet to adopt it. People are yet to adopt it. But RBI last year had a target of having 1 million transactions per day using CBDC. They have achieved it. They have in fact achieved it. Okay. So again, come back. So I hope you understand when I say digital rupee or this e-rupee, it is different. And this e-rupee is a voucher system. Now many of you will ask me, sir, what is this first e-rupee? What is the first one? E-rupee, when you say voucher. Let's start with a very simple example. Everything has gone, right? Because some mistake is there. Don't worry, I'll write it. You don't have to be worried. Let's start. How this digital rupee will work, how this digital voucher system will work, let me explain it. First one is a service sponsor. First is a service sponsor. Second step is a bank. Third one is beneficiary. Fourth one is service provider. Service provider. I'll go step by step. Please listen to the process. Please listen to the process. Focus here now. Service sponsor can be private sector as well as government. Service sponsor can be a private sector or government. Let me start with government, then I'll give you an example of a private sector. Imagine government of India. Imagine government of India wants me to get vaccination. Is it okay? Imagine government of India wants me to get vaccinated. So earlier government of India would have simply provided 800 rupees to my account. But there was a concern. There was a concern with the government that I may not use 800 rupees to get vaccinated. All of you okay with this? I'll repeat it again. Government wants me to get vaccinated. They will transfer 800 rupees into my account. What is the guarantee that I will take 800 rupees, go to a hospital, get vaccination done? Government cannot have any kind of a guarantee. So in order to address this issue, in order to address this, where government is incurring expenses, but government doesn't know whether the beneficiary is using the money for the right purpose or not. Right? How does a government ensure that? That's very difficult. So in order to address this issue of end usage, in order to address the issue of mobile phones or access to bank account, etc., what has the government of India done? They've introduced a system called as e-rupee. Step number one, I'll take the same example. Government will transfer money. I repeat, listen to me very carefully. Government will have a tie-up with the bank. Government will transfer money to the bank. Let's say government will give 800 rupees to the bank and give my mobile number also to the bank. Give my details also to the bank. And what the bank will do? Banks will create a voucher, digital voucher. Banks will create a digital voucher that is in the form of either SMS message or it is a QR code. So banks will send, let's say, a QR code. Banks will send a QR code to my mobile number. I will receive the QR code. I will take the QR code to a service provider, which is a hospital here. I will take this QR code to the hospital, show the QR code to the hospital will scan it. Now one OTP will come to my mobile number. I will provide the OTP to the hospital. Now hospital will give me vaccination. The hospital will give me vaccination. And have a look at this. Once the hospital has provided vaccination to me, the 800 rupee which was deposited by the government to the bank, 800 rupee will be transferred to the hospital. 800 rupee will be given to the hospital. All of you okay with the system? All of you okay with the system? I'll repeat it again. Listen very carefully. After 10 minutes, don't ask me, right, what is the process? Listen to me very carefully. Government will transfer 800 rupees to the bank. Bank will create a QR code, send it to me. I will take the QR code to the hospital, show the QR code to the hospital. Hospital will scan it. I will receive an OTP. I will give the OTP to the hospital. They will give the vaccine to me. And now the hospital will receive 800 rupees. Now, step by step, let me ask you certain questions. Question number one. I as a beneficiary, I repeat, I as a beneficiary, do I require bank account to get this benefit? Please do let me know. Listen very carefully. Some of you are not listening carefully. That becomes a problem. I as a beneficiary, do I require bank account to get this subsidy? Some of you are saying yes. My dear, you did not listen then. I do not require any bank account. Why do I require bank account? You tell me. Those who are saying yes sir, you would require a bank account. Why as a beneficiary I would require a bank account? You tell me. Where did I say my bank account will receive money? I never said that. I said government will transfer 800 rupees to the bank. I did not say into my account. I said government will transfer 800 rupees to the bank. Bank will create a QR code. I will get the QR code. I have to have a mobile phone. That's it. I need a mobile phone. That's it. Beyond that, I will not have any requirement. So can I simply say, I will not require any bank account as a beneficiary? Let me know. I will not require any bank account as a beneficiary. Even now, anybody has a doubt? I don't require any bank account. Some of you are saying, how will government deposit? Don't you think government will have a bank account with the banks? Yes or no? Don't you think government will have a bank account with the banks? I don't require bank account. Government will have it. Government will transfer. They will transfer QR code to me. That is the first point. Second point, listen to me very carefully now. Is it okay if I say, rather than asking you, because most of you keep on making mistake, rather than government being worried whether I'm using it for the right purpose or not, by issuing such a voucher, can government of India, one, keep a track of the voucher? Please do let me know. Right? Can the government keep a track of the voucher? Track of the voucher means how many vouchers have been issued to me. Can government of India come to know about this? How many of these vouchers have I used in hospital A, hospital B, or medical shop A, medical shop B, etc., etc.? Can we come to know about it? Correct? Can government of India keep a record? And more importantly, can the government of India now ensure that if this voucher is issued for vaccination, it will be used only for vaccination purposes? Think of it. Can government of India ensure that 800 rupee for vaccination? Now that voucher, I can use it only to get vaccinated, nothing else. So can government of India now ensure that that 800 rupee will be used only for vaccination, nothing else? So can government of India ensure that the money will be used for the right purposes only, for nothing else? Anybody has a doubt, please do let me know. Some of you do not listen to me very carefully. That is the reason all of these doubts will crop up. Sir, without having a bank account, how will you receive a QR code? My dear, my mobile number. Did you not listen to the process? Government will transfer 800 rupees to the bank, and give my mobile number, my details in simple terms. Right? Government will transfer 800 rupees to the bank and provide my details, including mobile number, to the bank. Now the bank has my mobile number. They will simply send the QR code to my mobile number. So what is the need for me to have a bank account now? All I need is a mobile phone. And some of you will say, sir, what if I don't have a smartphone? Government says, don't worry, we will send SMS. We will send SMS. That's it. We'll send the SMS. Right now, issue is that what if you don't have a mobile phone? Definitely, yes, that is a concern which has been raised. That's a concern which has been raised. What if I don't have a mobile phone? Even in that particular situation, the e-rupee system will be lagging behind. Can we go forward now? Can we go forward? Right? So do let me know. Please do let me know. Right? E-rupee system, is it a better system compared to the current system that we are following, where government can transfer 50,000 rupees into your bank account, but government doesn't know for what purpose you are using it? Government is ensuring that you will get the subsidy, but government doesn't know what is the end use of it. But now government of India can track everything. Government of India can keep a track of everything. Okay. So this e-rupee system has been developed by NPCI, National Payments Corporation of India. Very, very famous. Please remember this. National Payments Corporation of India, NPCI. Right? That is point number one. Second, the e-rupee system, while developing it, there were other agencies of the government, other ministries of the government which were part of it. For example, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, MOH, and EFW, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, it was part of this initiative. DFS, Department of Financial Services, part of Ministry of Finance, it was also part of the initiative. National Health Mission, an agency of Government of India, was also part of this initiative. Second, it is cashless, it is contactless, it is person specific, and fourth one, it is a purpose specific digital voucher. We'll go point by point. Listen very carefully. Listen. If you do not listen, you will make a mistake. Listen first. It is cashless, it is contactless, it is person specific, it is purpose specific. Let's start with the last one. Can I say it is purpose specific? That is, if I give you 800 rupees a voucher, digital voucher to get vaccination, I am saying you can use it only to get vaccination, nothing else. Please do let me know. Can I say it is purpose specific? First one is clear with you? Purpose specific. Person specific. Government of India has identified me as a beneficiary. They will give my mobile number to the bank. Bank will send QR code to my mobile number. Can I say it is person specific? Correct? It is a person specific. I will receive the QR code. Person specific. Contactless. Do I have to go to any ministry or any government authorities to submit data? Do I have to go to receive a check from any of these authorities? Do I have to run behind the district officials to receive funds into my bank account? Absolutely no. Contactless. All of you okay? Contactless. And the first one is cashless. I as a beneficiary, I am not going to get any money here. The subsidy will not be given to me in the form of money. Right? What will be given to me? A voucher will be given to me, using which I will purchase good or a service from the market. Can I say it is cashless subsidy or cashless subsidy system where voucher is issued, using which I can purchase a good or service, but money will not be given to me. Anybody has a problem? What is cashless? What is contactless? What is person specific and purpose specific terminologies in the context of e-rupee? Can we go forward? Can we go forward? And some of you keep on asking, Are Baba, sir, 800 rupees is an estimated number of X. My dear, from one scheme to another scheme, how much money will be spent by the government? Will it change or not? Let me know. From one scheme to another scheme, how much money spent by the government, will it change or not? Of course, yes, it will keep on changing. It will keep on changing. That's the reason I took an example. Okay. Now, it is a digital voucher. It is a digital voucher. It is an electronic voucher. Physical vouchers will not be issued. Mobile phones of the beneficiaries will be utilized. There are 4 participants in the system. One is a service sponsor. It can be the government. It can be private sector as well. Now, many of you will ask me, sir, how can private sector use this digital voucher? How can the private sector utilize a digital voucher? I'll give a very simple example. What if this private sector company in which you are working, the private sector company in which you're working wants to provide certain benefits to you? For example, same example I'll take. Let's say, right, health benefit. They want to provide certain education benefits to your children. They want to provide insurance benefits to you, etc. So please do let me know, can the private sector also utilize e-rupee when they will provide money? When they will provide money instead of that, can they use e-rupee to ensure that the benefits that they're providing will be used for the right purposes only? Think of it. For example, during pandemic, many of the private sector companies provided food assistance money for the employees. They provided money for getting vaccination for the employees. They provided money for transportation purposes. Please think of it. Instead of giving money, can the private sector issue e-rupee now? Can they utilize e-rupee to provide benefits to the beneficiaries? Of course, yes. Beneficiaries could be, again, let's say anybody under the corporate social responsibility, or anybody could be the employee of the company itself. So even the private sector can utilize e-rupee system. Service provider is there. It could be a medicine shop. It could be a ration shop. It could be anybody. Bank as well as beneficiary. These are the 4 participants under the e-rupee system. What are the benefits? What are the advantages of e-rupee? First one, beneficiary. I'll repeat, beneficiary does not require a bank account. Beneficiary doesn't require a bank account. I require a mobile phone, that's it. I do not require a bank account. Okay. Second one, ensure that the money will be used for the right purpose. If that token, or let's say if that particular voucher is issued for purchasing food in the market, I can use it only to purchase food grains. I cannot use it to purchase anything else. If this voucher is for getting medicines from the market, I can use it only to purchase medicines. I cannot use it for anything else. Privacy of the beneficiary is also protected. I don't have to disclose my details to anyone here, right? The government will ensure that only my mobile number will be given. My mobile number and my name will be given to the bank. Bank will send the QR code to my mobile number. Voucher redemption can be tracked. Redemption means where am I using the voucher? On which date am I using the voucher? The government can always keep a track of all of this. Okay. Next one. Voucher has a verification code. That is, if I want to use this voucher, I will get an OTP. Only then I will, if somebody else wants to scan it, I will get an OTP. I will give the OTP. Only then can the voucher be utilized. Without getting the confirmation code, it cannot be utilized. Can be used by the private sector also, and will promote a financial inclusion, move towards digital transactions or digital economy. All these are the benefits of e-rupee system. All these are the benefits of e-rupee system. Having said so, there are certain issues, there are certain concerns regarding e-rupee system. What are the concerns? Let's start. Understand this very carefully. There's a scope of misuse. In every system, there's a scope of misuse. I hope you understand this. First one, I will get a e-voucher, right? I'll get a e-rupee voucher, and the e-rupee voucher says I can use 1,000 rupees to purchase medicines. I can use 1,000 rupee voucher to purchase medicines. Please do let me know. Please do let me know any guarantee that the medicine I want to purchase is present in the medicine shop. Think of it. Is there any guarantee that the medicines I want right now, the medicines I want are there in the medical shop? And many of you simply say, sir, then go to another medical shop. Correct. Some of you will say, then go to another medical shop. My dear, you're talking about an urban situation. You're talking about a city. You're talking about towns where multiple medical shops are available. What about villages? Think logically. Right? What about villages? In villages, do you think 10 medical shops are there? Right? 15 medical shops are there. And no, absolutely no. Absolutely no. Hardly one medical shop you will get in every village in India. So only one medical shop is there, and that medical shop does not have the medicines. So don't you think that's a problem? I have a voucher, but it's a problem because I cannot use the voucher right now. Okay, right? So no guarantee regarding service delivery. It does not address a supply side issues. Right? What do you mean by the first one? No guarantee regarding service delivery, as well as it does not address supply side issues. Imagine I've got a voucher using which I can get a surgery. Okay, right? I can get a surgery. Now I'll go to, right, let's say a government hospital. I'll show the voucher, and whatever additional services they're supposed to provide, even at a nominal price, whatever services they were supposed to provide, they will provide it. Can you guarantee what will be the quality of the service provided by the hospital? Can you guarantee what is the quality of service provided by the hospital? Even let's say food grains. Can you guarantee the quality of food grains that the shopkeeper will give to me by taking this e-rupee voucher? Of course no. Of course no, right? So there are issues regarding supply side. Quality might be affected. Quality of the service might be affected. Service may not be available in the first place. Right? So first as well as second. And some of you are saying, sir, if medical shop is not available in a village, go to city. Right? My advice to you people, there are around 3 students who have told me this in the comment section. My advice to you people, please do not give these kind of answers in interviews or even in the mains examination. My sincere advice, take it or leave it. This is for your benefit. Please do not advise saying if you cannot get it in village, go to city then. My dear, that's a very callous advice. Very, very unfortunate advice that you can provide. And trust me, if you give such an answer in the interviews, most importantly, interviews, and trust me, the interviewer will be disappointed. Interviewer will be disappointed. Your answer to the question is not to create one more problem. Your answer should not be to create one more problem. If you can't get hospital in village, go to city then. Arre Baba, that is not the right approach. That's not the right approach to provide a service to people. And you're a government servant. You're supposed to provide a very good, attractive solution, right? One which is affordable, the one which is workable to the people. You cannot simply say go to city. You can't get hospital is here. Go to city. You can't get education here. Go to city. You can't get water here. Go to city. That cannot be the answer to the questions. Your solution should be to bring services to villages. 67% of India's population resides in villages. I don't know whether you know this data or not. 67% of India's population resides in villages. And your answer should not be go to city. You will have to bring the services to village, not the other way. Okay. Anyways, no guarantee regarding service delivery. It does not address the supply side issues. And the third concern, listen to me now carefully. The third concern, earlier I've written this also. Earlier, one of the concern was if the government issues a e-rupee voucher, it was allowed to be used only once. I'll repeat the statement. If the government issued a e-rupee voucher, it was allowed to be used only once. Once you scan it and you provide the OTP, the e-rupee voucher becomes useless later. And second, the maximum value of e-rupee voucher, the maximum value of the voucher was 10,000 rupees. Maximum value of the voucher was 10,000 rupees. That was a constraint. That was a concern. Why? Imagine, I'll give a very simple example. Imagine I've undergone a surgery under one of the schemes of Government of India. Okay. I've undergone surgery. And now Government of India has given me a e-rupee voucher to purchase medicines. Now, please do let me know. Can I simply say I might purchase medicines once in every 15 days? Correct or wrong? I might purchase medicines once in a month. Until unless I recover, let's say 2 months or 3 months, I'll keep on consuming medicines. But now, if government has given only one voucher, I will take the voucher, purchase medicines. For the value of the voucher, what if the doctor will ask me to change medicines after 15 days? What if the medication prescription is changed after 20 days? So don't you think once you have scanned it, the voucher becomes useless? Yes or no? Once you have scanned it, the voucher becomes useless. You cannot scan it later. So now I've purchased a medication for 3 months, 4 months, most of which I cannot use. So the issue was the value of the voucher was very less, 10,000 rupee, and the voucher can be scanned, can be used only once, not reusable. Government of India has addressed it now. Right? The limit of the voucher has been increased from 10,000 rupees to 1 lakh. Limit of the voucher has been increased to a beneficiary from 10,000 rupees to 1 lakh. Why? I can be a beneficiary under scheme A, B, C, D, E. And what if I want to receive a total amount of subsidy is more than 10,000 rupees? So the government can issue a voucher with a subsidy up to 1 lakh rupees, with the assistance of up to 1 lakh rupees. And second, I can use the voucher multiple times now. I can use the voucher multiple times. I can keep on reusing the voucher. Now you'll ask me, sir, how many times can you use the voucher? Is there a number on it? Government says, as long as money is there, as long as the subsidy amount is there in the voucher, you can keep on using it for multiple purposes. Okay, right? So that is basically the issue which was there earlier, now has been addressed. So all of you okay with this? All of you okay with the concept of e-rupee? All of you are okay with the concept of e-rupee? Can we go forward? So which of them has a greater footprint now? E-rupee or the direct benefit transfer in the form of cash? Right now, DBT has a higher footprint because it has been implemented starting 2013 and 14. And e-rupee voucher was introduced only last year. Only in the last year, government has introduced the concept of e-rupee. Very, very new concept. Very, very new concept. Okay. But with the idea of a e-rupee, government says beneficiaries don't have to have a account number. They don't have to have an account number. Is there a potential of misuse here also? Again, I'm not saying there are misuses here. Are there potential for a misuse? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. Potential for misuse is already always there. But again, remember this particular point. Remember my point. Please do let me know if the concern of the government of India was usage of the subsidy as well as access to bank account. I'll repeat the statement. Listen carefully first. There is a potential of misuse. Every system has a potential of misuse. What is the guarantee that once you become IAS officer, you will work for people and not for yourself? Is there a potential of misuse there also? Of course, yes, there is a potential of misuse everywhere. But my question is now, if the concern of the government of India was people are finding it difficult to get access to their bank account and government doesn't know how they are going to use the subsidy, end use of the subsidy, can we say e-rupee system will address that issue? Let me know. Right? I'll repeat the question again. If the concern of the government was, I don't know how beneficiary will use the money for right purpose, and government says people are finding it difficult to get access to their funds in the bank account, subsidies in the bank account, can e-rupee system, can this e-voucher system address these concerns of the government of India? Answer is yes. Right? So again, potential for misuse is always there. Always there. What if fake beneficiaries or mobile numbers, right, are created, fake beneficiaries are created and vouchers are transferred, and these will be sold to the shopkeepers, not utilized, they will not purchase, that they will get money, etc. Of course, yes, potential for misuse is always there in the system. But as a civil servant, if it is found, you will have to try to address it. You'll have to try to address these kind of situations. Okay, done. Let me go to the last concept under the chapter subsidies. Very, very important, connected to current affairs. Listen carefully. Okay, before that, how does it address privacy issues that the service provider shares the details of beneficiary with the bank? My dear, service provider will not share the details. You are not listening carefully. I said I will go to the shop, provide a QR code. I will not give my Aadhaar number to him. I will not give my PAN card to him. I will not give him my voter ID. I will give QR code. They will scan. I will get OTP. I will tell the OTP. That's it. That's it. That is how the system has been put in place. Right? So the service provider does not know about me. All the service provider will know is what is the use of the voucher. They will scan it and the system will say, please provide him vaccination. Please provide him medication, right? Or provide him medicines of 1,000 rupees. That's it. They will come to know only that. Okay, done? Okay, let me go to the next one. WTO and subsidies. WTO and subsidies. Point number one. Earlier, when we discussed WTO last week, when we discussed the WTO, there was one agreement that we left out. We are yet to discuss. That is agreement on agriculture. Very, very important. Listen to me very carefully. There is one agreement called as agreement on agriculture. India is a signatory. India is a member of WTO. It has signed agreement on agriculture. And all the other member countries also have signed AOA. Now, what is this AOA, Agreement on Agriculture? Under Agreement on Agriculture, there are three very important principles or three pillars of AOA. One is market access, second one is export subsidies, third one is called as a domestic support. Now, what is this market access? The member countries will have to reduce and eliminate non-tariff barriers. The members under WTO who have signed AOA, they will have to reduce and eliminate non-tariff barriers. Now you tell me, having discussed the idea last week, if non-tariff barriers are eliminated, if non-tariff barriers are removed, will it not promote trade in agriculture commodities across countries? Will it not promote more and more of global trade in agriculture commodities? Of course, yes. So one, market access, eliminate NTBs, non-tariff barriers. Second one is export subsidies. Member countries should not be providing export subsidies. Why? If these countries will start providing export subsidies, automatically their exports will increase. Other countries will suffer. Right? If I provide export subsidies to agriculture sector, to any other sector, don't you think there's a danger that I'm violating many other provisions of agreements under WTO? Correct? If I provide export subsidies, it is going to violate multiple provisions of other agreements under WTO. So do not provide export subsidies. Please do not promote export subsidies. Third one is domestic support. Very important. Domestic support. Now, what is this idea for domestic support? The governments, the member countries of WTO, the governments will have to reduce the subsidies that are given to producers in the domestic market. Again, who are the producers of agriculture sector in India? Farmers. In simple terms, the domestic support says how much subsidies are given for production purposes. How much subsidies are given for production purposes in agriculture sector, we have to reduce it. We will have to reduce it. Why? Listen to me very carefully now. Let me explain this concept. Listen to me very carefully. There is a term called as market distortion. There is a term called as market distortion. What do you mean by distortion here? Distortion simply means the normal trade will be disrupted. Normal trade will be disrupted. Disturbed or disrupted. Sir, what do you mean by disruption of a normal trade? What do you mean by the disturbance of normal trade? Let me take an example. Listen to me very carefully. Now, please do let me know. Let's say there is example 1 and there is example 2. There are two countries, A and B. There are two countries, A and B. Now, farmers who are cultivating crops, any crop for that matter, do not worry. Farmers who are cultivating crop, let's say they will require fertilizers. They will require electricity. They will require seeds. Inputs in simple terms. Okay, they'll require fertilizer, electricity, and seeds. Under example 1, let's say hypothetically, the price will be 10 rupee, 20 rupee, and 30 rupee in country A. 10 rupee, 20 rupee, and 30 rupee respectively for in country A. And let's say it will become 11 rupee or 19 rupee as well as 32 rupee in country B. So have a look at this. 10, 20, and 30, simple. Cost of production will be 60 here and cost of production will be 62 here. Cost of production will be 62. A very simple question to you. Very simple question. Is there a scope of huge exports? I'll repeat the statement. Is there a scope of huge exports from country A to country B under example 1? Underline the term huge export. Is there a scope of huge exports to the extent of harming the farmers in country B? To the extent of harming means the sales of farmers in country B will suddenly fall down. Country A's exports to country B will be very, very high. No. Some scope is there, but not very, very high exports from country A to country B. This is example 1. Let's shift to example 2. Same number I'll take, country A. Now, have a look at this. Imagine government of country A will provide lot of subsidies to the farmers. In what way? Fertilizer, which was 10 rupee, fertilizer cost, which was 10 rupee. Now, government will provide lot of subsidies. They will ensure that fertilizer is available at 2 rupee for the farmer. Electricity, farmers used to spend 20 rupees earlier. Government says, take free of a cost. Right? Elections are there. We have announced it. You take electricity for agriculture purpose free of a cost, right? Let's say 0 rupee. Seeds are there. Government will provide subsidies there also. And these will be provided at, let's say, 10 rupees. And country B, the government of country B does not have so much of revenue, or they don't want to provide so much of subsidies. They will not give, let's say, they will not give any amount of subsidy, and farmers will purchase the same at the same price, 11, 19 and 32. And as a result of this, farmers in country A will spend 12 rupees to produce the crop, and farmers in country B will spend 60 rupees, 62 rupees to produce a crop. A very simple question to you. Don't you think because of this policy of government of country A, I'll repeat the statement, because of this subsidy policy of government of country A, huge amount of exports will start flowing from country A to country B? Everybody is okay? Huge amount, not small amount, because the price differential is so much now. The price difference is so much, huge amount of exports will start flowing from country A to country B, to the extent of affecting the farmers, affecting the earnings of the farmers in country B. All of you okay with this? All of you okay with this argument? Can I call this as a policy of government A which is creating a market distortion? I'll repeat the statement. Can I call this as a subsidy policy of government A which will create market distortion? Everybody is okay? Look at the definition of distortion here, and now look at what has happened in example 1 and example 2. That is nothing but you are disturbing the trade. You are creating a lot of distortion in the global trade. Now please tell me, if government of USA is country B, and I'll prove it in some time. If government of USA is country B and government of India is country A, will USA government be happy with subsidy policy of government of India? And I'll prove it, by the way. Just give me some time, I'll prove it. If government of USA is country B and government of India is country A, will USA be happy with the subsidy policy of government of India? Absolutely no. And that is a point of friction. That is one of the point of friction between Indian government as well as USA government. USA government makes allegations, alleges that government of India provides so much amount of subsidies for agriculture sector. Right? The government of India provides so much of subsidies for the agriculture sector that it is creating lot of distortion. Food grains from India are getting exported to USA. USA farmers are suffering because of it. Right? That is basically the argument of market distortion. Okay. So third pillar, come back to the third pillar, domestic support. You will have to reduce the support that you are providing for the farmers or the cultivators for production purposes. That is called as a domestic support. Now, under the domestic support, the subsidies which are given by the government under the domestic support are classified under 3 heads. I'll repeat the statement. Under domestic support, the support that is provided, subsidies that are provided by the government to the farmers are classified under 3 heads. And this approach is called as a traffic light approach. Now, why this is called as a traffic light approach? Let me give a very simple example. Now, please do let me know, all of you have seen a traffic light? Anybody in the classroom who says, sir, what is a traffic light? I have no idea whatsoever. What do you mean by a traffic light? Let me know. Right? That is, you will see traffic light like this. One will be green, second one will be orange, and the third color will be red. Correct? Everybody has gone into a traffic. Everybody has driven a car or a two-wheeler in a traffic. So first you will see a green color. First you will see a green color. You'll see a green color light, and then you'll see orange color light or yellow. Right? Call it as orange or yellow. Don't worry. And the third one, you will see amber color or red color light. A very simple question to you people. If it is a red color light, what does it indicate? If the light is red, what does it indicate? Right? It simply means stop. It simply means stop. You are not allowed to go. Simply stop. Right? Second, orange color. What does it indicate? Or yellow color, what does it indicate? This is basically slow down. Look here and there, please slow down. Right, the second yellow color represents that, and green color is simply go. Do not stop, go. And generally what you will see in a traffic light, either green will become yellow, yellow and then red, and red will become yellow and then become green. Right? Generally the transition is there. And apply the same logic. Apply the same logic even for subsidies now. Even for subsidies. Now, is it okay if I say any subsidy which is classified as red box subsidy? Right? These are called as boxes. Classification is called as boxes. Any subsidy that is classified as a red box subsidy, it simply means governments should not be providing subsidies of this sort. Let me know, at least apply the logic now. Start applying logic. Is it okay if I say any subsidy given by the government is classified under red box? It simply means government should not be providing this subsidy. These subsidies are not allowed. These subsidies are prohibited. Those subsidies are called as red box subsidies. Those are referred to as red box subsidies. Right? Prohibited subsidies are called as red box. What about the subsidies which can be classified as green box? Think of it. What if I say there are certain subsidies which are classified as green box subsidies? Can I simply say government can provide without any condition, without any limitation, government can provide any amount of these subsidies? All of you okay with this? Please do let me know if anybody has a problem. If I say any subsidy is a red box subsidy, you're prohibited. Do not provide these subsidies. Why? Look at the meaning of the term red there. Red color. And if I say any subsidy is a green box subsidy, what does it mean? Government can provide any limitation. No, I'm sorry, without any limitation, without any condition, government can provide any amount of subsidies under green box. Because we are using, I repeat, because we are using traffic lights here. I'll repeat the statement. Because we are using traffic light colors, this approach of classifying the subsidies is called as a traffic light approach. This approach of classifying subsidies is called as a traffic light approach. And in case of the domestic support, we have three types of colors. In case of domestic support, we have three types of colors, right? Three boxes. One is called as a green box subsidy. Second one is called as a amber box subsidy. Third one is a blue box subsidy. One is a green box. Second one is a amber box. Third one is a blue box. Now, what do you mean by green box subsidy? Right? What do you mean by green box subsidy? The green box subsidy, these subsidies do not create any kind of distortion. I'll repeat the statement. The green box subsidies are those subsidies which are given by the government which do not create any kind of distortion, or even if they create a distortion, it is negligible. It is not large. It is negligible. I'll repeat it. Please remember this. I'll repeat it again. And now don't ask me what do you mean by distortion. Then I'll ask you what did you do in the last 10 minutes when I discussed market distortion. So look at it. What is a green box subsidy? Any subsidy given by the government to the farmers, to the cultivators, which does not create any distortion or creates negligible distortion. Such subsidies are classified under green box subsidies. Sir, any example of a green box subsidy in India? Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. Right, this is the best example. Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. Right, please do let me know. How many of you think that Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi will create a distortion between Indian farmer and a USA farmer? Will it create any distortion in agriculture production? Because if you have read about PM Kisan, if you read about PM Kisan, government doesn't say farmer has to use it only for cultivation. Government doesn't say farmer has to use it only to purchase fertilizer. Absolutely no. Government calls this as income support scheme. Correct or not? Have you people come across this terminology in the context of PM Kisan? Government says this is income support scheme. right? I'm providing certain subsidy to assist to increase the incomes earned by the farmers. That is the reason PM Kisan does not create a distortion between Indian market as well as the USA market, at least now. So any kind of subsidies which are given by the government for development of infrastructure, for research and development, for pest management, PM Kisan, all these are classified under green box. And because this is classified under green box, please understand there are no limitations. There are absolutely no limitation on how much subsidies can be incurred by the government under green box. No limitation at all. No limitation at all. And some of you are saying, sir, that will create a distortion. Please tell me, according to you, how it will create a distortion. And when I say distortion, think of it. Think of this example. How it will create a distortion, you tell me that. Right? Because I'm telling you government's viewpoint. Government says there is no distortion because I'm not giving it in the form of fertilizer subsidy. I'm not giving that. PM Kisan is income. I'm giving 6,000 rupees to a farmer. Government says no distortion. According to you, how it will create distortion, let me know. Okay. Second one is amber box. Second one is amber box. Because understand this second point here, amber box generally I've written orange. Many of the experts will say this is not exactly orange, this is more of an amber color. It's not exactly orange, it is more of an amber color. Now, what is this amber subsidy or amber box subsidy? Any subsidy that will create a distortion between the member countries of WTO, agriculture sector. Any subsidy given by the government to a cultivator which will create a distortion between the countries, member countries trade, such subsidies are classified under amber box. Such subsidies are classified under amber box. Now please look at this picture and tell me, can I say fertilizer subsidies provided by the government are amber box subsidies? Very simple question to all of you. Please look at example 1 and example 2. Can I say fertilizer subsidies which are provided by the government are amber box subsidies? Anybody has a difficulty? If you say it is difficult, then you are not looking at the picture correctly. You are not looking at the picture correctly. That is the reason you will feel difficult. So amber box subsidies will create a distortion, of trade between the member countries. So fertilizer subsidy is the best example. Now let me add one more point here. All of you remember the concept of MSP? Let me know. All of you, do you remember the concept of MSP? Minimum support price that we have discussed in short, not in detail. In short, earlier. Right? Last week we have discussed MSP. What is MSP? Minimum support price. It is a price which is paid by the government whenever they will procure food grains. Very simple. Do not complicate the concept. It is a price which is paid by the government whenever they will procure food grain. That is called as a minimum support price. Okay. Now, understand this very carefully. Government of India will increase MSP for crop X. Let's say Government of India will increase MSP for a crop X by very large number. Now, if Government of India will increase the MSP for crop X, you please tell me what will happen to cultivation of this crop in India? Very simple question. What will happen to cultivation of this crop in India? Can I say cultivation will automatically increase? Correct? Anybody has a problem? Cultivation will automatically increase. And when the cultivation will increase, what will happen to market supply? What will happen to market supply? Because please remember the next point as well. Remember the next point. Government says I will purchase food grains at MSP. It doesn't mean all this food grain, all of this crop X will be purchased by the government. I'll repeat the statement. Listen to me very carefully. Government will announce MSP for wheat. It doesn't mean all the wheat produced in India will be purchased by the government. Absolutely no. Why? It should make perfect sense to you. What will Government of India do by purchasing all the wheat produced in India? What do you think government does with it? Does government require so much amount of wheat? Think of it. Does government require so much amount of wheat? Absolutely no. So government will purchase as per its requirement. Government will purchase as per the requirement. So understand this very carefully. MSP increased, production will increase, market supply will increase. And when the market supply increases, what will happen to prices? Very simple now. What will happen to prices? Prices will decrease. Prices will fall down. Now think of it. What if because of this, prices in India become lesser than prices in USA? Very simple now. Because of this, prices in India will become lesser than the prices in USA. Can I simply say, as a result of this, exports to USA will shoot up. Exports to USA will start increasing. And if I start exporting more and more to USA, don't you think farmers in USA will be affected by this? Correct or not correct? Are you able to connect the dots or not? If I export more, because of a very high supply, prices will crash in India. Prices will simply fall down in India. And now I'm an exporter. I'll see that in USA, the prices are much higher. In India, prices are very less. I will purchase from India, export it to USA. And the farmers in USA, because of the MSP policy of government of India, will suffer. Now, please do let me know, is it okay? MSP policy of India will affect farmers' income in USA. Right? All of you okay with this? So automatically government of USA will say, we are not happy with the MSP policy of government of India. We are not at all happy with the MSP policy of India. In fact, multiple countries have criticized the MSP policy of government of India. But more importantly, can I say, MSP is an example of amber box subsidy. Let me know. MSP is an example of amber box subsidy. And now tell me, if you remember this particular classification, either orange or amber, what does the color indicate? What does the color amber or orange, what does it indicate? It indicates we have to slow down. Apply the same logic. WTO agreement says, if I classify any of your subsidies, under the amber box, you will have to reduce the amount of subsidies which are classified as amber box. How much should be the reduction? How much should be the limitation of amber box subsidies? There is a term called as de minimis level. De minimis level simply says, any subsidy which is classified under the amber box subsidies, the amount of subsidies which are given by the government should be limited to 10% of value of production in case of developing countries, and 5% of value of production in case of developed countries. I'll repeat it again. Under the de minimis level, the agriculture support that is given by the government for the farmers should be limited to 10% of value of production if you're a developing country, and 5% of value of production if you're a developed country. Which means, is it okay if I say, if I cultivate, let's say 100 crore rupee of a crop, value of the crop is 100 crore, and the subsidy that I'm giving for the cultivation of the crop is under the amber box. India is a developing country. Looking at all of these points, can I simply say, in 1 year, government of India is not allowed to provide amber box subsidies of more than 10 crore rupees. All of you okay? Government of India is not allowed to provide subsidies of more than 10 crore rupees. So for developing countries, limitation is 10%. For a developed country such as USA, limitation is 5%. All of you okay with this? All of you okay? So amber box subsidies, these are trade distorting. Hence, what we need to do is, we will have to reduce the amount of these amber box subsidies. Right? We'll distort the trade, limits will be imposed under the WTO agreement. Come to the last one here, blue box. And some of you might be waiting for red box. Please remember, in domestic support, there is no red box subsidy. I'll repeat the statement. In domestic support, there is no red box subsidy. As of now, we do not have a classification of a red box subsidy. Now, third box is called as a blue box. Blue box, please remember this, any subsidy which is under amber box can be classified under blue box. I'll repeat the statement. Please listen carefully. Any subsidy which is under the amber box can be classified under the blue box. But that's very important. These are subsidies which have a distortionary impact. These subsidies which can distort the trade will be used to contain production. I'll repeat the statement. Please listen carefully. Blue box subsidies are also called as amber box subsidies with limitations. I'll repeat the statement. Blue box subsidies are also referred to as amber box subsidies with limitations. Why? These subsidies which are under blue box can distort a trade, can have an impact of a trade on the trade. But these subsidies will be used to limit production. These subsidies will be used to contain production, not increase production. For example, please tell me, can MSP right now, can MSP be used to increase production of a crop in India? Let me see how many of you are able to understand this. I'll repeat the statement. MSP right now in India can be used to increase production of a particular crop? Answer is yes. But what if, that is very important. What if government will use MSP to control, to reduce, to limit production in India? How so? Let me explain it. Imagine, because we are not using it today in India. Imagine government of India says, I will pay MSP and purchase it from you for a crop, let's say wheat. I will announce MSP for wheat. I will purchase wheat from you at MSP, provided you are cultivating wheat maximum on 1 hectare. Understand this statement very carefully. What if government of India says, I will announce MSP for wheat. I will purchase wheat from you, provided you are cultivating wheat only on 1 hectare of a land. If you cultivate on more than 1 hectare, I will not purchase it. Now, please let me know, because of such a policy of government of India, if that is implemented, can we reduce production of wheat in India? Because of this policy, can there be, compared to today, can there be reduction of wheat production in India? Because government says, I'm going to purchase, but if you cultivate only on 1 hectare, you cross that, I will not purchase. You go to the market and sell it. I will not purchase it from you. Which means there is a very, very small window, small facility available for the farmers only if you cultivate in 1 hectare of land. So farmers will contain the production. Farmers will reduce the production to 1 hectare only. So production will be limited. Now please tell me, if production will become limited for a lot of farmers to only 1 hectare, don't you think the distortion impact of MSP will also become lesser? All of you okay with this? Right? Earlier, the impact of MSP was very huge. Now, can I simply say the distortion will be addressed, in fact, by using a MSP policy? All of you okay? Can I go forward now? So now do let me know, can I say a blue box subsidy is an amber box subsidy only. Whatever subsidies are there in amber box, they'll come under the blue box, provided these subsidies are used to limit. Lot of conditions are imposed, limitations are imposed. These are used for controlling production. Such subsidies are called as blue box subsidies. And please remember, any subsidy which is classified under blue box subsidy, there is no limitation as to how much subsidy can be given by the government. Do not be confused. The blue box can be used to contain production. But how much subsidy can be given by the government under blue box? There is no limitation on it. Governments can use any amount. They can give any amount of subsidy if this subsidy is classified under blue box subsidy. Okay, right? So this is basically the concept of blue box. Now, if you ask me, sir, are there any example of blue box subsidies in India? I have not come across them. In fact, many experts also say the prices which are paid by some of the governments, deficit pricing. There's a concept called as a deficit pricing. What do you mean by deficit pricing? If the market price will fall below certain price, I'll repeat the statement, right? Many of the states are providing something called as a deficit pricing. If the market prices will fall below the MSP, then the government is providing the gap between the MSP as well as the market price in the form of deficit pricing. And many of the experts say deficit pricing is a blue box, but again, government of India so far has not published any paper on it. But many other countries, for example, China, just to remember one example, you can remember this. For example, China, couple of years ago, China provided a blue box subsidies, which is very famously called as corn producer subsidy. China has provided a subsidy back couple of years ago, which is famously referred as a corn producer subsidy. It was a type of a blue box subsidy only. It was a type of blue box subsidy. Okay, right? So blue box, amber box, green box. There is no red box under the Agreement on Agriculture Domestic Support. And remember this, any subsidy which is distorting the trade classified under amber box, you will have to limit it. You will have to limit it to 10% of production value for developing countries and 5% for developed countries. Can we go forward now? Can we go forward? In fact, I'll tell you one point. Please remember this. How the subsidies are calculated, in what year, right? The adjustment is done. What is the export support price, etc. Lot of calculations are there. You do not worry about methodology. You please do not be worried about methodology of calculation, because one of the contentions between government of USA, government of India is that both countries are using different methodologies. Both of the countries are using different methodologies. Government of India says we are not distorting trade for many of the crops. USA says we are distorting market to a very great extent. Why? The methodology, the calculation, exchange rates, etc., which are used by India are different compared to used by USA. You do not worry about the methodology. You simply remember there is a friction. This is one of the points of contention between India and USA, that is agriculture support. Okay, anybody has a doubt, please do let me know. Reduce MSP will lead to limit production, may or may not, because please understand, when I discuss MSP, you'll understand this. Government announces MSP for more than 20 crops, doesn't procure all these crops. There is a huge limitation on what crops are purchased by government. I'll discuss that next chapter in the next session. Don't worry, that is after the break. If MSP is a trade distorting, then PM Kisan is also trade distorting, as MSP is like income support and PM Kisan is direct income support. My dear, you please tell me how PM Kisan will distort trade. You're simply saying PM Kisan will distort trade. How? Prove to me. Because I've proven. Please do let me know. Anybody has a doubt why MSP will distort a trade? Let me know. Why MSP will distort a trade? Does anybody have a doubt? Please do let me know. The proof is there right in front of you. Please have a look at the picture. Now you tell me, according to you, how PM Kisan will distort trade. Because government says, government will give you 6,000 as income support. You can use it for any purpose. I hope you understand. You can use it for any purpose. So government says it is not distorting market. So you tell me how it will distort market. A red box and amber box the same, as both distort trade. Listen carefully. That's a reason you need to listen very carefully. Red box subsidies are not there. Red box subsidies are not there. Why? Red box means you will have to simply stop. You cannot provide. Amber box, they will distort a trade. Hence, we will have to reduce it. You will have to reduce. You are allowed to give, but up to certain limitations. Right? In agriculture, there is no classification of red box subsidies. Okay. Okay, any other question? Can we go forward? Any other question? Anybody has any other doubt? Please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll go forward. Nobody has got any kind of doubt? Okay, let me go forward. What is blue box subsidy? Listen carefully, Baba. I repeated blue box I think around 3 times I repeated. Listen carefully. Any amber box subsidy, that is any subsidy which will distort trade, will become part of blue box, provided, underline that, provided you are going to use this subsidy to limit production, to control production, right? Such subsidies are called as blue box subsidies. And that's the reason I said amber box subsidies with limitations. Amber box subsidies with limitations are called as blue box subsidies. Today, if government will increase MSP on wheat, it has been found that wheat production increases, right? Wheat production increases. But in case of blue box, government, if they announce MSP under blue box, government will simply say, if you cultivate more than this, I will not purchase. If you cultivate more quantity than this threshold, I will not purchase, which means farmers, in order to sell to the government, will have to control, will have to limit their production. That will limit the overall production in India, right? So that is basically the idea of a blue box subsidies. Okay, now what is India's opposition? What is India's opposition to this argument? Please understand the concepts. Let's go one by one. First one, I said there is a difference in how we calculate the support and how USA calculates support. Government of India says, no, we are not okay with the methodology used by USA. Right? And because the agreement on agriculture doesn't say clearly which methodology has to be used, there is always a friction, there is always a contention, there is always an allegation. USA alleges that India's subsidies are very, very high. India says, no, we are within limitations. We are within limitations only. That is point number one. Point number two, government says in India, the population which is there in agriculture sector, which is dependent on the agriculture sector, is very high. And because a lot of population, lot of people are working in agriculture sector, India's agriculture sector is not very well developed. I don't have any option but to provide subsidies. I don't have any option. A lot of population is involved in agriculture sector and it is not developed. I will give subsidies. And it so happens that these subsidies, a lot of them will fall under amber box. Point number three, the population of India. India's population is very high. And because India's population is very high, demand for food will also be very high. Correct? India's population is very high. And as a result of this, the demand for food is also very high. And I want to increase production by providing subsidies. And these subsidies you have classified under amber box. It is very difficult for me to contain these subsidies. And finally, Western economies such as USA, such as European countries, their farmers are much better, are having more incomes compared to Indian farmers. And if you calculate per farmer, how much these developed countries provide support to the farmer, it is at least $1,000. I'll repeat the statement. Per farmer, if you calculate how much USA will provide support to farmer, how much European countries will provide support to farmers, it is at least $1,000. In case of India, it is less than $100 per farmer. But please remember this, agreement on agriculture doesn't focus on per farmer support. It always talks about total support as a percentage of value of production. So government of India says, look at per farmer. USA provides more. UK provides more. Germany provides more. And per farmer, I'm providing less than $100. But agreement on agriculture doesn't focus on per farmer support. It focuses on what is the value of your support as a percentage of total production. And that is the reason. That's the reason even though government of India says farmers in US are rich, they will get more support. I should be allowed to give more support. This is not accepted under WTO. But nevertheless, this is one of the arguments which has been raised by government of India opposed to the concept of the domestic support under agreement on agriculture. Now, what is the solution to all of this? Listen very carefully. I'll connect it to current affairs. Please listen carefully. What is the solution to all of this? there is this argument that the food security that is given by government of India, the food security that is given by government of India, or expenditure under food security, they will use the term food security, or they will simply say public stock holding. Public food grains or public stock holding, the subsidy provided by the government is more than 10%. It is more than 10% of total value of production. In simple terms, right? Is it okay if I say government of India will purchase wheat, will purchase rice and distribute it under various food distribution programs in India? Please do let me know. It's a fact, by the way. There should not be any confusion. Government of India will pay MSP and purchase wheat, purchase rice, store them and distribute under various distribution programs. For example, National Food Security Act. Under National Food Security Act, we have midday meals. We have a public distribution system, Pradhana Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, etc., where government of India will distribute food grains. So argument of USA is government pays MSP, purchases food grains to provide food security. And by announcing MSP for achieving food security, government of India is violating the de minimis level. Is it okay? Is the argument okay with all of you? I'll repeat it again. Government of India will pay MSP, purchase food grains. And because government is paying MSP, already we have understood to what extent it will distort the trade between India and USA. So the argument of USA government is government will pay MSP to purchase food grains and distribute food grains under food security, under National Food Security Act. And this is causing the basic violation of de minimis level. That is, in simple terms, they are saying the amount of MSP that you're paying, again I'm taking MSP, but different types of subsidies are there under amber box. The amount of subsidies you're paying under amber box are not less than 10%. These are more than 10%. These are more than 10%. And even government of India has accepted this. Listen to me carefully. Even government of India says, yes, you are right. It is more than 10% for me. The amount of subsidies that I provide for cultivation of crops such as paddy, which can be market distorting, are more than 10%. Government of India has accepted this. Then what is the solution? What is the way forward then? If, understand this carefully, if USA will go to WTO now, right? If USA will go to World Trade Organization and file a complaint against India under dispute settlement body, if they will file a complaint against India, then government of India has to reduce the subsidies. They will not have any option, but they will have to reduce the subsidies. But you tell me, if government will reduce fertilizer subsidy, if government will reduce MSP subsidy, if government will reduce electricity subsidy, etc., will it not have an impact on food security in India? Think of it logically. Please think of it logically. Will it not affect production of certain crops in India? Will it not affect government procurement in India? Will it not affect the distribution of food grains in India? Of course, yes. It will have a very, very huge impact. So government of India says, no, I will not accept it. I will not accept it. For public distribution, for food security purpose, I will keep on spending subsidies. I'll keep on procuring. But there is a conflict now. There's a conflict. USA says, you're violating de minimis level. Government of India says, no, I will not accept it. I'll keep on purchasing. I'll keep on spending money for public stock holding. That is the precise reason. Please remember this. There is a provision called as a peace clause. There is a provision called as peace clause, right? Peace clause. Peace clause is very, very famous, very often cited in the newspaper. What is this peace clause? In one of the ministerial conferences, one of the ministerial conferences, which was conducted back in 2013, very famous Bali conference. Very, very famous. In one of the earlier ministerial conferences, which was conducted in 2013, Indonesia, Bali conference, there was introduction of a provision called as a peace clause. And what does the peace clause say? Peace clause says if a developing country, I repeat, if a developing country, in order to meet food security purposes, will violate a de minimis level, will cross the de minimis level, then other countries, such as the developed countries, cannot file a complaint against such a country under WTO. I'll repeat the statement. Please listen carefully. Please listen carefully. What does the de minimis principle say? I'm sorry, what does the peace clause say? If a developing country, in order to achieve food security for its country, in order to achieve food security, will violate, will cross the de minimis level. In such cases, a developed country cannot file a complaint against this country under WTO. But what is the condition? What is the condition here? The developing country should be using this subsidies, using this expenditure only for food security. Meaning what? Please do let me know now. Is government of India allowed, I repeat, is government of India allowed to pay MSP, purchase wheat and export it to USA? I'll repeat the statement. Is government of India allowed to pay MSP, purchase wheat and export it to USA? Think logically. Is it allowed? No, it is not allowed. Why? Already by paying MSP and other subsidies, you're violating de minimis principle. You're violating de minimis. Now, you cannot violate and also export, because exporting is not food security. If government of India will export food grain, it is not food security. Government is only allowed to purchase these food grains, pay MSP, purchase and use it in the domestic market for distribution purposes. Right? You cannot export it to USA, you cannot export it to other countries. Why I'm talking about this? Why? What is the reason? Point number one, government of India has consistently violated de minimis level for the last 3 to 4 years. It has consistently been violating this particular de minimis principle. That is, our subsidies for multiple crops in India, such as paddy, are more than 10%. I'll repeat it. The subsidies that we're giving, which are market distorting, are more than 10%. And obviously, because it is more than 10% of value of production, we should be dragged to WTO. But government of India says, I will use peace clause. I will claim peace clause. The moment I will claim peace clause, the moment I'll say, I will file it under peace clause, which means the MSP, the fertilizer subsidy, etc., whatever I've incurred, yes, I know it is more than 10%, but I'm a developing country and I am paying MSP only for food security purposes, only to procure and distribute it in India for under various subsidies or under various programs, food distribution programs. That is the meaning of using peace clause. Now, please tell me, based on this, can you pay MSP, procure and export it? Not allowed. Not at all allowed. That is point number one. Point number two, couple of years ago, right? Let's say 1.5 years, 2 years ago, was there an issue regarding food grain availability in the international market? Think of it. Was there an issue regarding availability of food grains in the international market? Right? Because of Russia-Ukraine war, because of the pandemic, etc., etc. At that point of time, government of India told WTO, if the concern is that food grains in sufficient quantity are not available, I can supply it. I'll repeat the statement. I can supply it, but you will have to give me an exemption. All of you okay with this? Right? Under the MSP I've procured, I've got a lot of food grains. And there's a concern that in the international market, supply of food grains is lesser. Then I can supply it to you. But you'll have to give me an exemption under Agreement on Agriculture. Because under Agreement on Agriculture, Government of India cannot export when they will purchase it at MSP. Okay, so that was that was one more reason why the concept of peace clause was there in the newspapers. Even recently also, as recent as last 2 weeks, the discussion of agriculture subsidies was there in the newspaper. This weekend Friday, I'll give you a couple of articles which have appeared in the last 1.5 months regarding peace clause. Read those. Okay, so all of you okay with this idea, WTO and subsidies? Please do let me know. Can we go forward now? This is the end of the discussion regarding the concept of subsidies. I just want to make one correction here. Last week I gave you this reference. By mistake, instead of writing chapter 4 in the earlier PPT, it is written chapter 5. Right? NCERT 9th class economics. By mistake, I've written chapter 5. My mistake, not yours. My mistake. Please do not read chapter 5. It is chapter 4. In chapter 4, there's a lot of discussion regarding food security. Okay, so please read it now. Okay, this is the end of the chapter. Any doubts? Anybody has any kind of concerns? Please do let me know. Otherwise, we can take a break. Let me know. Any doubts? Are Baba, participate. Anybody has got any kind of a doubt? Otherwise, I can basically take a break now. Sir, how can I use this info while writing answer? Which kind of info? Which kind of info? All this information is important. Based on the question, you will have to use it. What is de minimis principle? I'll repeat it again. Please listen to me carefully. If you are a developing country, the agriculture support that you provide, agriculture support means subsidies which are market distorting. If you're a developing country, the agriculture support that you're allowed to provide should be 10% of value of production. If you're a developed country, it should be limited to 5% of value of production. Again, please understand, lot of calculation methodologies, a lot of points are there within this, but for GS paper 3, that is not required. For example, when you read in a particular article in a book, or even if you go to WTO website, they'll say it should be limited to 10% of value of production as per 1986-88 prices. Now, many of you will say, sir, how do I calculate 86 and 88 prices? That is not needed. Simply remember it and go forward. More than sufficient. Okay. How to classify a subsidy into different boxes? My dear, I've told you that already. If it is market distorting, amber box. If it is not distorting or negligible distortion, green box. But it is a market distorting used for limiting production, right? The blue box. Already that is discussed. Then why India signed this agreement? My dear, it was signed back in 94. Let me know. Was the situation of India same back in 1994 as it is today? Of course, no. Situations will keep on changing. And when the situations will keep on changing, right, the member countries want certain exemptions. They want certain changes also. Okay. USA farmers have a larger land holding than India. Isn't this change in scenario? Does agreement on agriculture discuss how much is the land holding per farmer? You tell me. Did I discuss that? No. Agreement on agriculture simply discusses only one point. How much market distorting subsidies you are providing and how much is the value of production of that crop. That's it. Do not go beyond that. But sir, per capita income of farmers in USA is very high. Yes, that's a fact. I only told you that's a fact. But agreement on agriculture is not bothered about it. Simply do not create any more confusions. Stick to what is given under that agreement on agriculture. Okay, so 10% subsidy on factory cost, please tell. Arey Baba, that's what I told you. How many times? What is the value of production of a crop? 10% of that should be maximum amount of subsidies. That's it. If your crop is worth 100 crore, 10% of that should be the maximum subsidy. Can India de-ratify OA? Why? Why your solutions are much bigger than the problem itself? Right? Why want to create a much bigger problem? You want to quit agreement on agriculture. Then what is a guarantee that other member countries will give you the same amount of access that you are getting today? You should think of that also. Right? Do not recommend anything that is going to be a bigger problem compared to the current situation. Okay. Okay. Done. Let's take a break then. Let's take a break. 8:04 will restart the discussion. We'll restart the discussion at 8:19. We'll restart the discussion again at 8:19. Okay. Some of you are asking any article in Hindu as far as today's newspaper is concerned. I don't think so. Be happy at least for today. I don't think so. Any article is important. Although in the front page there is one article on GST. If you want to read it, read it. But again, the data, that whatever is discussed in that article, it will keep on changing. whatever is discussed in that article, the data will keep on changing. Although the article is there on GST, I don't think so that is important for UPSC. They have told how much is the rise in GDP in these states. It is a cause of concern, etc., etc. Because by the time you write exam, this data would have already changed. So I don't think so that is to that extent important for UPSC. Apart from that, in the central page, open editorials, there is one more article on civil aviation, but again, I don't think so that is important for UPSC. So as far as I'm concerned, in Hindu newspaper, there are no important articles for UPSC exam from Indian economy part. From Indian economy part. Okay, so let's take a break. Right, let's take a break. We'll restart 8:05. I'll restart at 8:20. I'll restart the session at 8:20. Please join back at 8:20. Okay, welcome back. Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? Can we start? Please do let me know. Am I audible? Done. Let's start. So the next chapter I'll be taking up will be agriculture and food processing. Again, important for both prelims as well as mains. Important for both prelims as well as mains. These are the topics that we'll be discussing: MSP, food subsidy, agriculture credit, storage, warehousing, APMC, ENAM, usage of technology in agriculture, and finally we'll look at what is the idea for food processing. Okay, now let me start. The first concept I want to discuss under agriculture is MSP, minimum support price. MSP. What is MSP? It is the price that is paid by the government whenever they will procure the food grain from the farmers. Object is very simple. Under MSP policy, Government of India will announce a price, and whatever be the market price, please remember this, whatever be the market price, it could be higher than MSP, it could be lower than MSP, doesn't matter. Government will announce a price, pay that, and purchase the food grain from the farmer. That policy is called as a MSP policy. Now, why did Government of India introduce MSP policy? What was the logic behind it? The logic was that during 1960s, go back to history now, 1960s, we promoted something called as Green Revolution. Correct? Do you remember high school? We promoted the concept called as Green Revolution. What is Green Revolution? Under Green Revolution, Government of India wanted the farmers to use quality seeds. Quality seeds are high yield variety seeds. Along with high yield variety seeds, government promoted usage of fertilizers, usage of irrigation, so that the productivity in agriculture sector will increase and overall production will also increase. Logic is simple. Logic is what? Promote production in agriculture sector by utilizing high yield variety seeds. High yield variety seeds, right? Irrigation, fertilizers, etc. That was called as a Green Revolution. And very recently it was there in the newspaper because of the father of India's Green Revolution, Mr. M.S. Swaminathan. I hope you have read about it, Mr. M.S. Swaminathan. Because of that, again, Green Revolution was there in the discussion. Please be very careful. Now, the problem was when you promote Green Revolution, when the production will increase, supply to the market will also increase. All of you okay with this? When production increases, supply to the market will increase. And when supply increases, market prices will fall down. So on one side, farmers are being asked to produce more, but because of higher production, the market prices will fall down. Farmers will suffer. So that is the precise reason why Government of India back in 1966 and 67, back in 1966 and 67, introduced the idea of a minimum support price. Initially, we introduced that with wheat. We introduced wheat for wheat because Green Revolution, initially it was promoted for wheat only. So we introduced that for one crop. Later, we expanded it to cover more than 20 crops. Even today, if you ask me, more than 20 crops are covered under the MSP policy of Government of India. For example, please have a look at this particular list. My recommendation, at least try to remember out of the 20 plus crops, 23 to be very precise, 7 cereals are there, 5 pulses are there, 7 oil seeds are there, 4 are commercial crops. Right? 7 cereals, 5 pulses, 7 oil seeds, and 4 commercial crops. So totally 23. As far as the CACP website is concerned, 23. Government can keep on chopping and changing this list. They can always keep on chopping and changing this list for a very simple reason. The idea of MSP, the concept of MSP does not have any legality. Please remember this. And when I say any legality, it doesn't mean it is illegal. There is no law in India which covers MSP. Under Constitution of India, no, it is not mentioned. Is there any law under which MSP is announced by the government? Absolutely no. There is no law which covers MSP in India. It is just announced through the executive authority of Government of India. Government of India through its executive authority announces minimum support price. That is another point. Next important point, although the government announces MSP for these 20 plus crops, remember government doesn't procure all of them. Government announces for more than 20 crops, doesn't procure all of them. Why? Government requires only certain food grains for distribution purposes under various schemes. For example, we have midday meals scheme, we have integrated child development services, we have right public distribution system. Only for those purposes, government will require certain quantity and certain types of food grains, and they will purchase, they will procure only for certain reasons. Okay, that is one more very important point. Next, I said government will announce MSP, but when do they announce MSP? Government announces MSP before the sowing season will start. I'll repeat the statement here. Government will announce MSP before the sowing season will begin, so that the farmers will have correct information. Based on the MSP, the farmers will decide what kind of crop they will be cultivating, what kind of crops the farmers will cultivate. They should have the information. Hence, it is announced before sowing season. Next important point. Who will recommend, who will decide MSP in India? Who will recommend and who will decide MSP? Please remember this. There is one authority under Ministry of Agriculture, Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices, CACP. Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices. CACP based on various parameters. Parameters such as what is cost of cultivation, how much will be the demand and supply for certain crops, how much will be the demand and supply in the international market, what is the cost of cultivation for crop A, crop B, etc., etc. So there are a lot of parameters which are considered by CACP. Based on that, they will recommend MSP for a crop to the government. And when I say government, it is a Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs. The Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs will decide and announce MSP for the crops. They will decide and announce MSP for the crops. Next point. In this slide, I've written 23 crops are covered under MSP, but please focus on one crop out of all the 20 plus, that is sugarcane. One crop, that is sugarcane, very specific. Please have a look at it. In the context of sugarcane, in case of sugarcane, government does not announce. And when I say government, again, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs, CACP will recommend, Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs will decide and announce. In the context of sugarcane, the terminology that the government uses is not, it's not MSP, rather it is called as FRP, fair and remunerative prices. Fair and remunerative prices. And why it is called as FRP, I'll explain it. Please have a look at it. Fair and remunerative prices. In the context of MSP, generally what happens? Government will announce MSP. On behalf of Government of India, it is the Food Corporation of India which will purchase food grains from the farmers. Very simple. It is the Food Corporation of India which will purchase food grain from the farmers, and MSP will be paid. And many of you will ask, sir, is it always FCI? No. I'll introduce one more term here. Whenever there is a question of procuring food grains, whenever there is a question of purchasing food grains, either the central government agencies can procure, either central government agencies such as Food Corporation of India can purchase food grains, even the state government is allowed to purchase food grains. Please remember this very carefully. Central government, only central government agencies can procure. That is also allowed. Or else, even the state agencies are allowed, that is the state government is allowed to procure and give it to the center. And based on this, there are two types of procurement. One is called as centralized procurement. One is called as centralized procurement, and the second one is called as decentralized procurement. Decentralized procurement. What happens in a centralized procurement? The procurement will be done either by the central government or by the state government agencies. Very simple. Procurement will be done either by the central government or state government agencies. Now, many of you will ask me, sir, why will the state government procure? What is the benefit for the state government? The state government agencies will procure, give it to the central government, and all these food grain which are collected is called as central pool of food grains. Now from the central pool of food grains, the food grains will be distributed either in the same state or they'll be taken, moved into another state, moved into separate other states and distributed. So for the state government which is involved in procuring and handing over the food grains into the central pool, central government will give money. Central government will give money. And on the other side, decentralized procurement. In decentralized procurement, the state governments, they will only procure, they will only store the food grains, they will only distribute the food grains. Is it okay? Is it okay? In decentralized, state government agencies, they will procure, they will only store, they will only distribute the food grains. That is called as a decentralized procurement. And for having conducted all of these operations, central government will pay money to the state governments. So this is how procurement is done in India, either through centralized procurement or decentralized procurement. Now come back to the discussion here. So whenever I say MSP, we generally assume FCA will purchase food grains and pay money to farmers. That is MSP. Whereas in case of sugarcane, the process is different. The mill owner, what kind of mill owner? Sugar mill owner. The sugar mill owner will purchase sugarcane from the farmer, and when sugarcane is given to the mill owner, is sold to the mill owner, the money that the mill owner has to pay is called as FRP. Is called as fair and remunerative prices. Now many of you ask me, sir, why is the FRP decided by the government? If a sugar mill owner is purchasing sugarcane, the mill owner should decide the prices. Why is the government deciding the FRP prices? The reason is very simple. How many of you know that sugarcane, once it is harvested, sooner you crush, more sucrose content you will get. I'll repeat the statement. Once the sugarcane is harvested, the sooner you crush the sugarcane, more sucrose content you will get. And otherwise, you can simply say, once you crush it, keep it for 2 days, keep it for 3 days, keep it for 4 days. More the number of days you take, the sucrose content will keep on going down. Right? For example, I'm pretty sure all of you experience this during festivals. Many festivals throughout India, we will purchase sugarcane, and after a couple of days, right? In one example, if you consume it on the next day, the liquid, that is sucrose content in it, will be very high. You will consume, right, another sugarcane after 3 days, after 4 days, most of it would have dried out. Correct? Most of the sugarcane would have been, right, dried out. Sucrose content will be very, very less. So now you tell me, if government will not decide, apply logic now. If government will not decide and the mill owners will decide, can they purposely reduce the FRP, reduce the price and purchase it from the farmers? Can they abuse the system? All I'm trying to tell you is, can they abuse? Can they basically say they will delay? If they do not provide, if the farmers don't sell it at a lower price, they will delay purchasing by 1 day. They will delay it by 2 days. And if they delay it by 3 days, sucrose content will be lost. Farmers will be losing a lot of money. That is a precise reason. Understand the logic behind it. That's a precise reason. In case of FRP, government will decide the price. Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs will decide the price. Done? That is one point. Next point. Whenever you're talking about MSP, center will pay MSP. Along with center's MSP, states are also allowed to pay bonus. I will repeat the statement. When you are talking about MSP, right, the center will pay MSP. But apart from the center's MSP, the state governments are also allowed to pay bonus. Meaning what? Imagine I'm a farmer, you are the government. Central government will pay MSP of 1000, state government will pay bonus of 200. So which means If I sell the crop, if I sell this crop to the government, I will get 1000 rupee plus 200 rupee, 1200 rupee. That is basically how MSP actually works. MSP actually works. On the other side, in case of FRP, center announces FRP, state government is allowed to announce state advisory price. State government is allowed to announce state advisory prices, SAP. Any problem here? The state government is allowed to announce state advisory prices, SAP. But what is the basic point here? FRP and SAP, whichever is greater. I'll repeat the statement. FRP and SAP, whichever is greater, that is paid to the farmers in case of sugarcane. Okay. In case of FRP, center will announce FRP, state will announce SAP, whichever is greater between the two, that will be paid to the farmer in case of sugarcane. So these are certain very important points. Please be very, very careful. Questions can be asked in any of these areas. Please be very, very careful. So apart from this, the states can also announce bonus over MSP. In case of FRP, it will be state advisory prices. But the only difference is bonus is paid along with the MSP. But SAP or FRP, one of the two, whichever is greater, is paid in case of sugarcane. Now, these are certain important points regarding minimum support price. Now, when I say CACP, the Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices, Commission for Agriculture Cost and Prices, CACP will recommend MSP to the government. What will be the recommendation? On what basis the recommendation is done? Please understand. Government of India now says, whatever crop the farmers are cultivating, they should be able to get at least 50% above and over their cost of production. Is it okay? I'll repeat the statement. Listen to me very carefully. Government of India says, whatever crops you are cultivating, provided they are covered under MSP policy, and whatever cost you are incurring to cultivate the crop, you should be earning at least 50% more than that. Meaning, if I'm spending, let's say 500 rupees, government says if I sell the crop to the government, above 500, I should be earning at least 50%. That is the reason, if you are watching the news or reading the newspapers very carefully, generally government announces MSP is equal to 150% of cost of production. Correct? Have you seen it anywhere? Please do let me know. Government says MSP is nothing but 150% of cost of production. Right? What do you mean by that? Whatever is your cost of production, I want to give you 50% extra, 50% more. That is your additional revenue. Now, question is, how do we calculate cost of production? How do we determine what is cost of production? There are around 7 to 8 methods. CACP follows around 7 to 8 methods. You don't have to remember all the 7 to 8 methods. Try to remember only 3, more than sufficient. Just try to remember only 3, more than sufficient. First one is A2, second one is A2 plus FL, and third one is a C2. Okay, first one is A2, second one is A2 plus FL, third one is C2. Again, very complicated. I'll simplify it. If you ask me, sir, are these the only 3 methods? No. A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2, C2 star, C2 plus FL, etc. There are so many other types. You do not worry. You don't have to write or read at optional level for GS paper 3. Stick to basic 3. One is A2, and don't ask me what is the expansion of A2. No, there is no expansion. The number that they will use is A1, A2. Focus on A2, A2 plus FL and C2. Now, what is this A1? What is this A2, A2 plus FL and C2? Let me explain. Just a second. Let me explain now. Now, let's say simple calculation. Listen carefully. You should listen carefully. Okay. Simple calculation. Let's imagine after the economic class is over, right? I'm done with teaching economics. I'm fed up. right? I'm simply of the opinion that doesn't matter whatever I tell, students will not listen to me. What is the point, etc., etc. I want to stop teaching. I want to go to my hometown and start farming. Hypothetically, I'm not doing. Don't worry. Some of you will be very happy. Finally, this fellow will leave economics, and some of you will say, sir, finish economics and go. I'm worried about myself. So don't worry. Just a hypothetical situation. So let's say today I will decide I'm done with economics, no point. I want to go to my hometown and start cultivating. I want to be involved in agriculture. Now let's start. When I will get involved in the agriculture, that is, I become a farmer, will I purchase inputs? And when I purchase inputs, I'll pay money. All of you okay with this? I will start cultivating. I will purchase inputs and I'll pay money for it. So whenever you come across the term A2, what is A2 here? Get the sum total. Get the sum total of all expenses which are incurred by the farmer on the inputs. What kind of inputs? Fertilizer, insecticides, seeds, irrigation. So when I purchase electricity, seeds, right, insecticides, right, or fertilizers, will I pay money for it? Will I give or will I spend money on these inputs? Of course, yes. So please look at the definition of A2. Please look at what is A2. A2 will cover all the input expenses that are incurred by the farmers. I repeat, A2 will include all the expenses incurred by the farmers on inputs such as seeds, fertilizers, insecticides, labor charges, etc. Now to just make it simple, just imagine this. I'm paying 100 rupees for seeds. I'm paying 100 rupees for seeds. I'm paying 200 rupees for labor. I'm paying 200 rupees for labor. Apart from labor, what else is there? Power is there and water is there. I'll take simple numbers. Let's say for power and water, I'll be spending another 700 rupees. Another 700 for power as well as water. Again, just hypothetical number. Don't ask me, sir, what seed I'll get in 100, what labor I'll get in 200, just for sake of calculation. So can I simply say A2 for me will be 1000 rupees? Let me know. Can I say A2 will be 1000 rupees for me? Right? So this is how A2 is calculated. Day to day expenses, how much I will incur. Day to day expenses, how much I will incur in purchasing inputs. Right? We will include that, and that is involved in A2. Now let me go to the next one. A2 plus FL. A2 plus FL. What is this FL? FL stands for family labor. FL stands for family labor. And what is this family labor I'm talking about? Think of this very carefully. Today, I'm here. I will quit this job, go to my hometown and start being involved. I'll start cultivating. I'm a farmer. Now, when I go to my village and start cultivating, I'm a farmer. I'm the owner. Please do let me know. Think logically and please do let me know. When I, along with other workers, will work on the field at the end of the day, do I pay myself any wages? Please think of it. Do I pay myself any wages? No, I'm the owner. I will not pay myself wages. For other workers, I'll pay wages of 200. Imagine there are two more people, me and my spouse, both of us are working, and two more people are working. Remaining two people, I'll pay 100 and 100, which I've included in the first example, which I've already included in A2. But I'm the owner of this land. I'm also working. My spouse is also working. Do I pay 100 rupees to my spouse? Imagine that. What will happen after that? You imagine. I've dragged her all the way from city to a village. I'm asking her to work now. At the end of the day, I'll pay my spouse also 100 rupees. First thing is I'm going to be scolded very badly. And apart from that, what will happen? All of you can imagine. So first thing, I'll get scolded. And second thing, we are not going to do that. That is, I'm not going to pay 100 rupees to myself as well as my spouse. I'll not pay. Which means family labor is involved. But right now under A2, I'm not including the cost of the family labor. Correct? family labor is involved in agriculture, but in A2 methodology, I have not included the cost for the family labor. All of you okay with this? So what will happen under A2 plus FL? I will take these components as it is. That is 100 plus 200 plus 700. But what is missing out of all the three? All the inputs, what is missing? Family labor is missing. So imagine I have also worked under A2 plus FL. I'll assume I'm paying 100 rupee to myself. My spouse also has worked. I'll assume I've paid 100 rupees to my spouse also. So I will add another 200 rupee. So now A2 plus FL methodology will give me cost of production, which is 1200. All of you okay with this? Can we go forward? Think of it. Can we go forward? Any problem? Now the third one, out of all the three, the third one is C2. Third one is C2. Right? What is C2? Comprehensive. C2 is very, very comprehensive. It will cover more than what was covered in the A2 plus FL. Now you'll ask me, sir, what more will you cover? Very simple question. This is my land. Okay, this is my land. Instead of me cultivating, what if I had given this land on rental basis to you? Let me know. Instead of me cultivating, what if I had given the land on rental basis to you? Right? Will I not be earning certain rental income here? Correct or not correct? Will I not be earning without any cultivation, without any investment, etc.? Will I not be earning certain interest on this? Yes. But because what I've done is, instead of giving land on rent, I'm only cultivating. Is there an opportunity cost or not? Am I not losing rental income? In simple terms, right? There is an opportunity cost. I'm losing rental income. What about machineries? What about machineries? Let's say I will purchase a machine worth 1 lakh rupees. There's a machine. I will spend money. I'll purchase this machine worth 1 lakh rupees. Now, please do let me know. Instead of spending 1 lakh rupee on a machine, I will keep this 1 lakh rupee in fixed deposit. Will I be earning certain interest on the fixed deposit? Answer is yes. But instead of that, I've purchased a machine. I spent 1 lakh rupees. Am I foregoing the interest that I would have earned on the fixed deposit? Again, answer is yes. So under C2, please have a look at the C2 statement there. Under C2, it will also include factors such as land rentals, interest foregone on capital assets, etc. All these components, apart from A2, apart from FL, all these other components such as land rental paid, land rental received, interest foregone on the investment of assets, etc., all of them will be included under C2. So now based on this, can I simply say C2 can be, let's say 1200 plus interest foregone of another 300, 1500 rupees. So please do let me know. All of you okay? Can I simply say out of all the three, A2 plus FL and C2 is the highest? Yes or no? Please do participate. I want you people to participate. By 9 o'clock, most of you become dormant. Start sleeping, etc. Out of all the three, A2 plus FL and C2, can I say C2 will be the highest? Farmers, if they are given 150% of C2, because C2 is also cost of production, the earnings of the farmer will be very, very high. But is the government of India paying on C2 in India? Absolutely no. Although calculations are done, CACP calculates it. Government doesn't announce on C2. Government announces generally on A2 plus FL. Government announces on A2 plus FL, right? For example, in this example, how much is A2 plus FL? 1200. If government of India has announced MSP is equal to 150% of cost of production. And what cost of production? Let's say they will take A2 plus FL. Then this crop, when I sell it to government, how much money the government will pay me? It will give me 150% of 1200, that is 1800 rupees. That is 1800 rupees. But Government of India, right, please remember, doesn't calculate and give on C2, it will simply give it only on A2 plus FL. In fact, MS Swaminathan, that's where Mr. MS Swaminathan becomes so important. MS Swaminathan headed a particular committee earlier, right? That is National Committee on Farmers. MS Swaminathan committee recommended that government should give MSP based on C2, not based on A2 plus FL. But generally government will give based on A2 plus FL itself. Can we go forward now? Anybody has any problem? What is C2? I did not get it. I'll repeat it again. Listen carefully. Land on which I'm cultivating, if I give it on rental basis to you, that is, I will give the land to you, you will cultivate, will you pay me certain land rent or not? Very simple. Will you give me certain land rental money? Of course, yes. So earlier in A2 plus FL, we are not including all of this. But in C2, which is very comprehensive, C2 is comprehensive costing. Under C2, we will include land rental foregone. I'm losing land rental because I am only cultivating. I'm not giving land on rent. Opportunity cost concept. I've spent 1 lakh rupees and purchased a machinery for land. But instead of that, I could have kept the money in a bank. I would be earning interest. So I'm foregoing interest also. So the money that has been foregone, the money that has been lost because of all of this will be counted in C2. That is the reason C2 will be much bigger. Okay. Certain more points. Government does not procure all the crops covered under MSP. Factual information, please remember. Why? You already know this. Government doesn't procure all the crops, and whatever they are procuring, all the quantity of this crop, they will not procure it. Many farmers will make their own arrangement to sell the crops in the market because the government doesn't procure, they will sell it in the market. Okay. There is a committee, HLC. There is a committee, HLC, High Level Committee. HLC is nothing but High Level Committee. The High Level Committee, which is also referred to as Shanta Kumar Committee, has found that they conducted a survey and they found that very small percentage of the surveyed farmers, only 6% of the farmers that they surveyed, they got the benefit of MSP. They got the benefit of MSP. Niti Aayog survey says that more than 80% of the farmers in India have the knowledge of MSP, but only few of the farmers are able to get the benefit of MSP. Okay. The states also announce bonus in addition to the MSP announced by the center. States will also announce bonus in case of MSP, and they will pay bonus along with MSP to the farmers. Okay. So these are certain points in the context of minimum support price. Now, in recent times, there is one demand from the farmers. Government of India should provide legal status to MSP. Have you heard of this? Let me know. Those who are attending the class and those who are awake, let me know. In recent times, especially the last 2 years, is there a demand from the farmer side that Government of India should provide legal status? Legal status simply means right now there is no law on MSP. There is absolutely no law. Government of India, tomorrow if they want to abolish MSP, they can easily do it. They can easily do it. Why? There is no legal status. There is no law regarding MSP. So farmers have been demanding that Government of India should provide legal status to MSP. Introduce a law and cover MSP under the law. Right now, it is not covered. Okay, it is basically through executive authority. So if at all it is done, what would be the benefit? If at all it is done, what would be the benefit? And what are the concerns? Critical evaluation. I'm doing a critical evaluation here. Current affairs point. Understand this carefully. Point number 1. Right now, I said more than 20 crops are covered under the MSP policy, but government procures very few of them. For example, government mainly, underline the term, mainly procures rice and wheat. Government's main procurement right now, that is purchasing under MSP, is rice and wheat. Sir, apart from rice and wheat, do they procure anything else? Of course, yes, they are purchasing millets. Right, nowadays, government is also purchasing millets under that. Government is also purchasing pulses under the MSP policy. But if you look at how much money will be spent by the government to purchase the food grains under MSP policy, most of the money will be spent on rice and wheat only. Rice and wheat only. And I'm saying rice and wheat, some of you will say, but sir, rice is nowhere mentioned in the list. And some of you will point it out later. You simply say rice is nowhere mentioned. My dear, can you see the term paddy here? Can you see the term paddy? Right? Paddy is a precursor of rice. That is paddy with the husk. Paddy with the coating is called as a rice grain with the coating is called as a paddy. You remove the coating, it is called as rice. Okay, so don't get confused. Government announces for paddy, purchase it, and milling operations are conducted. That is, removing the husk is conducted. Okay. Now, most of the procurement is basically surrounding the concept of the cereals. That is rice as well as wheat. Rice as well as wheat. Why? Why does government mainly procure only these two? Right. Apart from that, I said the pulses are also procured, millets are also procured, but very small quantity. Reason is very simple. Lot of the distribution programs which are run by the government, cover cereals. That is the reason government mainly targets the cereals here. Now imagine government of India will legalize MSP. That is basically a law is there, and under the law MSP is provided. Now please tell me, will government have any option there when the MSP is given a legal backing? Don't you think once the MSP is given legal backing, government will have to start procuring all the crops now? Correct? For whatever MSP is announced, government will have to start procuring all the crops. They cannot have any authority because that authority is taken away. Law is there now. They will have to start providing, or they will have to start procuring all the crops which are covered under MSP. So one, coverage will increase. Coverage of crops which are actually purchased by the government will automatically increase. That will provide benefit to lot of other farmers who are not getting the benefit of MSP now. So it will provide guaranteed returns to the farmers. And they don't have to be worried about market prices. They can simply go to the government, sell it to the government, and get the MSP. Coverage of the farmers from other states who are cultivating other crops will also be increasing. That will provide benefit to the farmers. There is a lot of distress in agriculture sector. Farmers are taking loans, but because of excess rainfall, low rainfall, excess supply, right, etc., imports at cheaper prices, etc., farmers' incomes are lower. Lot of farmers are not able to recover their expenses. So this kind of a policy will reduce the distress in the agriculture sector. Okay. So these are some of the advantages. These are some of the benefits of having a legal backing to MSP. Now, if there is a legal backing, what will happen? What is the issue? First one, all of you please let me know, chime in and do let me know whether this makes sense or not. With the legal backing, now government has to procure these crops without any exception, without any excuse. Will it not increase revenue expenditure of the government of India? Will it not become a fiscal burden on the government of India? Of course, yes. It will become a huge burden on the government. But having said so, is there a solution to this, which might become a problem to the farmers? Of course, yes. Right now, I said, think of it very carefully. Right now, I said, government announces MSP based on A2 plus FL. What if government says, I will not provide MSP based on A2 plus FL, rather, I will give it only on A2. Please think of it logically. Government says, you want me to provide legal backing? Okay, I'll do that. I will purchase also. Whenever you bring the crop, I will purchase also. I will not say this, I don't want to procure, etc., etc. But what if government says, I will not announce MSP at 150% of cost of production. I will simply announce it at A2. Don't you think that will become a revenue loss for the farmers? Think of it. Will that not become a loss for the farmers? Farmers will be earning much lesser. Even the government will procure the food grains now under legalized MSP. So how the MSP will be decided? That might lead to certain revenue losses for the farmers. It might become a fiscal burden for the government. Next is interesting. Please listen very carefully. Next to I'll club. impact on the traders in the market, and food inflation. Sir, how MSP providing legal backing will lead to food inflation? What is the connection? Let's start. If you are a farmer, again, if you are a farmer, I am the government, I am telling you, I'll give you 2000 rupees MSP. Guaranteed now, no exception. I will purchase it even if you're cultivating crop A, B, C, doesn't matter. If it is part of MSP policy, I will purchase it, I'll give you 2000 rupees. Now, you please tell me, if that is guaranteed, don't you think the market prices, the one when you sell it to anybody else in the market, you will demand at least 2000 rupees from other buyers in the market? Yes or no? Right? I am the government. You know that you can always sell it to me now under MSP policy. I am going to give you 2000. Does it not mean you will demand at least 2000 rupees from other buyers, middlemen in the market? Of course, yes. You will demand at least 2000. Now look at this. If you demand at least 2000 rupees, unlike today, government says I'm not going to procure all the crops. And the market price is dependent on supply and demand. Today, the market prices depend on supply and demand. But in the future, if MSP is given legal backing, you know you can always sell it to government. You will demand at least 2000 rupees from the middlemen traders. Don't you think the market prices that is paid by the traders will start increasing? And if the market price paid by the traders will start increasing, they will purchase it at more than 2000. They will sell it to customers at more than 2000. So it will also cause inflation. It will also cause food inflation. Okay. That is right. That is the third as well as the fourth concern regarding providing legal status to minimum support price. And the next one, even if government purchases, does it have sufficient warehousing capacity? Because the answer today, right now, government does not have sufficient warehousing capacity. They do not have storage capacity. No, they do not have sufficient storage capacity. So even if government of India will procure it, will they be able to store the food grains? No, they will not be able to store food grains. And moreover, please think of it. If government of India will provide legal backing to MSP and is forced according to the law to purchase food grains of all the crops which are covered under the MSP, what will happen to the trade distorting subsidies? Think of it now. What will happen according to you? What do you think will happen to the trade distorting subsidies? Don't you think the trade distorting subsidies will increase? We will not just violate de minimis level by 1 or 2%. We might end up violating it by 10%, 20%, 30%, etc. Right? That might become a bigger issue for government of India to defend at a World Trade Organization. So all these are some of the issues or concerns associated with having a legal backing to MSP policy. Okay, legal backing to MSP policy. Can we go forward now? Can we go forward? Okay. Next concept I want to discuss. Is the idea of food subsidy. Okay, food subsidy. Now, what is food subsidy? It basically is the amount of expenditure that is incurred by the government to provide food grains to certain beneficiaries. Right? I'll repeat it. What do you mean by food subsidy? It is nothing but the amount of expenditure, how much money government of India will incur in order to provide food grains for certain beneficiaries. For example, can I say, to provide food grains under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, government will incur food subsidy. Please do participate and do let me know. Government of India, in order to implement Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, can I say government of India will incur food subsidy? Yes. What about midday meal scheme? Yes. So under various schemes, government of India will incur subsidies for providing food grains, which is collectively called as food subsidy. I'll come back to this slide. Have patience. I'll come back to this slide. How much is the food subsidy being incurred by the government of India? Please have a look at the data. Do not by heart the data. Do not by heart the data. The data is no more useful for you to remember it. It's not useful. But what can you do is observe. Observe. Because suddenly UPSC might say, in the last 1 decade, for example, UPSC might simply say, in the last one decade, food subsidy bill of Government of India has consistently increased. Is it true? Just observe the graph. In the last one decade, the food subsidy bill of Government of India has consistently increased. Is it true? No, it is not true. You can see by a small margin it has been increasing, but there is a sudden rise in the food subsidy bill for 1 year. The reason is very simple: pandemic. Reason is very simple: pandemic. During pandemic, Government of India introduced Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, under which government started giving 5 kgs of free food grains to the beneficiaries. And that is the precise reason the food subsidy bill of Government of India suddenly increased. It increased, right? So that is one reason. Okay, that is mainly the reason. So has it consistently increased? No, for majority period of time it has increased, but after that it has reduced. It has actually fallen down. Okay. Now, how the food subsidy, how distribution is done? How the distribution is done? There is one law. There is one law in India, National Food Security Act. I think it is there in the next slide. Please have a look at it. There is one law in India, National Food Security Act. Under NFSA, under National Food Security Act, the Government of India says that 2/3 of total India's population, I repeat, 2/3 of total India's population, that is around 67% of India's population, will be provided with food grains at subsidized prices. I'll repeat the statement, listen to me very carefully. Under NFSA, Government of India says we will provide food grains at subsidized prices. Subsidized prices means at very low prices. I will incur food subsidy, but I will sell it to the beneficiaries at very, very low prices. Until very recently, until last year, for example, Government of India provided the food grains, that is, let's say rice. Rice was provided to the beneficiaries at 3 rupees per kg. I'll repeat the statement here. Rice was issued or sold to the beneficiaries at 3 rupees per kg. Wheat was sold to the beneficiaries at 2 rupees per kg. Now, please understand my statement. I'm saying wheat was sold, wheat was issued. Instead of saying that, can I say issue price was 2 rupees per kg? Please do let me know. Issue price was 2 rupees per kg. Issue price was 3 rupees per kg. Issue price is 1 rupees per kg, etc. Right? All of you okay with the term issue price? Issue price simply means government will give you 1 kg, how much money they will collect from you. Is it okay? Issue price, I'll repeat it. Government will give you 1 kg and how much money they will take from you. That is called as issue price. Now, please write update with current affairs. Update with current affairs. Under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, can I say issue price has been made 0 rupees per kg? Think of it. Under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, the issue price has been made 0 rupees per kg. Means government will give you 5 kg of food grain. You do not have to pay any money for it. Not even a single rupee you'll have to pay. It is free of a cost for you. Is it okay? Is it okay? This is there in the current affairs. Please be very careful. Under NFSA, it was actually 3 rupees per kg, 2 rupees per kg, 1 rupees per kg. But Government of India now under Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana says 0 rupees. Free of a cost. They might not say 0 rupees. They'll simply say free of a cost. 5 kgs, you don't have to pay any money. Okay, so 2/3, 67% of total population, that comes out, right, out of 120 crore plus, that comes out to be around 80 crore population. Around 80 to 81 crore people are covered under NFSA. 50% of urban population is covered and 75% of rural population is covered. Okay, 5 kgs per person per month. In fact, here also, please remember, there are 3 types of ration cards which are issued, because based on the ration card, they will give you how much entitlement. One ration card is for above population, above poverty line, APL. Right? One population is identified as above poverty line. Another one is called as a below poverty line. And the third categorization is called as Antyodaya card holders. I'll repeat the statement. Part of population is classified as above poverty line. Another one is called as below poverty line. But within below poverty line, part of below poverty line only, there is certain population which is very, very poor. Can I call it as poorest of the poor? Think of it. Population which is poor, within that only, there are certain people who can be classified as poorest of the poor. If you ask me, sir, who are poorest of the poor? Rickshaw pullers. And have you seen those? Rickshaw pullers, daily wage workers. These are poorest of the poor. These are poor only. But within the poor population also, these are poorest of the poor. So the population which is classified as poorest of the poor, they have one card which is called as Antyodaya card. They have one card which is called as Antyodaya card. Please remember this. So whenever you're talking about public distribution system, whenever you're talking about how much food grains are issued for Antyodaya household, for Antyodaya house, 35 kgs of food grains are issued per month free of a cost. I'll repeat it. Poorest of the poor are classified as Antyodaya card holders, and they are given 35 kgs per household, 35 kgs per month food grains. Whereas other beneficiaries who can be part of BPL as well as APL, other beneficiaries per person 5 kgs of food grains are issued. Per person 5 kgs. That is the reason whenever you're talking about public distribution system, beneficiaries are classified into two. One, priority beneficiaries, priority households, where per person 5 kgs are issued. Antyodaya household, where for one house 35 kgs of food grains are issued per month. Okay. Poorest of the poor will continue to be covered under Antyodaya Anna Yojana, 35 kgs per month per household. Redressal mechanism. Redressal means what if sufficient, right? That is 35 kgs are not given to you. 5 kgs per month is not given to you. If there is a grievance regarding the quantity, quality, timing, etc., complaint in simple terms, there is a mechanism. At the district level, there is one officer appointed, DGRO. You can file a complaint with this officer. At the state level, there is one more official, State Grievance Redressal Officer, SGRO. DGRO and SGRO. States will identify the beneficiaries. Central government will not identify, state government will identify the beneficiaries. And under the National Food Security Act, it is also proposing to use a technology. It has also proposed to use technology, usage of information communication technology, right, etc., so that the leakages, loopholes will not be misused, those will be plugged. Okay, now next point. I'll go back to previous slides. I've skipped 2 slides. Don't worry. Don't say, sir, you're skipping slides. I'll go back. Don't worry. When I say usage of technology, when we talk about usage of technology, there is one technology that is very famous now. One nation, one ration card. Listen very carefully. One nation, one ration card. Government is using technologies to ensure that food grains are distributed. Sir, what kind of technology? What is the use of it? One nation, one ration card is called as ration card portability system. It will facilitate portability of ration cards. How so? Let's start. Understand this system very carefully. Imagine me along with my family, right? Totally 5 people are there. We are identified as beneficiaries by Bihar government. Very simple. Listen to me very carefully. Me along with my family, totally 5 people, we have been identified as beneficiaries under National Food Security Act by Bihar government. Now, I'm a migrant labor. That is, I'll keep on moving from one district to another district, one state to another state in search of labor work. So what if I'll move from Bihar to any other state? If I move from Bihar to any other state, don't you think there's a danger that if I move to another state, I might not be getting food grains in the second state? All of you okay with this? I'm identified as a beneficiary in Bihar by the Bihar state government. If I move in search of job to another state, Let's say I'll go to Maharashtra, I'll go to Uttar Pradesh, I'll go to Gujarat, I'll go to Tamil Nadu, etc. in search of job, and that's a very common phenomenon. I hope you know this. That's a very, very common phenomenon. In India, people migrate from one state to another state. Very common phenomenon in search of jobs, in search of employment opportunities, daily wage work, etc. So if I move from Bihar to, let's say, Maharashtra, I am not a beneficiary as per Maharashtra government. So, right, I will not be getting any food grains in Maharashtra, but I'm staying in Maharashtra now. So there is a problem. Portability is a problem. So what has the government of India done now? They have introduced the concept of one nation, one ration card. Under one nation, one ration card, what will happen? A very simple process, right? Please look at the picture here. In the right side, there's a picture. A beneficiary, imagine I'm a beneficiary, I will go to a ration shop in Maharashtra. I'm from Bihar, I will go to a ration shop in Maharashtra. I will provide my thumbprint. I'll simply provide my thumbprint, right? Aadhaar. So once the Aadhaar database identifies me as a beneficiary, obviously it is there in Aadhaar database. So Aadhaar database will say, yes, this person is supposed to receive 5 kgs of food grains per month. So even though I'm in Maharashtra, the ration shop in Maharashtra will give me 5 kgs of food grains. So all of you okay? How technology is used under one nation, one ration card to ensure there's a portability of ration cards throughout India. Right? Throughout India, at any point of time, any ration shop you can go, provide your thumbprint and receive the food grain, receive your entitlement. That is called as one nation, one ration card, was launched by the government in 2019. All the states in India have implemented this. All the states in India have implemented ONRC. There are two systems which are maintained here. Please remember the names of the systems. One is IMPDS, Integrated Management of Public Distribution System. The IMPDS will record all the transactions which are interstate. It will record all the transactions which are interstate. Means what? Whenever a beneficiary is taking the 5 kgs of food grains in another state, all these transactions will be recorded in IMPDS. And whatever transactions are there, that is within the state. I'm a beneficiary in Bihar. I will take the food grains in Bihar. All these transactions will be recorded in Annavitran. The only reason, sir, why two systems? What is the logic behind it? The reason which has been given by the government of India is so that we can plan accordingly. Government of India should know how much food grains should be allocated to Maharashtra, how much food grains should be allocated to Bihar, how much food grains should be allocated to Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Assam, West Bengal, right, Gujarat, etc. That they will be able to decide only if they have data. If they have data, how many people are taking in Karnataka, how many in Maharashtra, how many in Gujarat, etc. That is the reason two systems will record two sets of transactions. Okay, so that is the concept of one nation, one ration card, NFSA. Two slides I've skipped. Tomorrow we'll start from that slide only. The food subsidy slide only will start tomorrow. Now I want to stop the discussion because right earlier chapter descriptive questions are left out. I want to address those descriptive questions. Finish that chapter completely. Tomorrow we'll start with the food subsidy discussion only. Okay. Now descriptive questions, MCQs we have solved. Friday we have solved MCQs. Only descriptives are left out. Let's solve those. How would recent phenomenon of protectionism and currency manipulations in the world trade affect macroeconomic stability in India? Very, very good question. And trust me, if you read only textbook, you will not be able to answer these questions. Trust me on this. And please do let me know. The articles that I gave on Friday, how many of you have read those articles? I gave you 19 articles. I've given you 19 articles. Okay, 19 articles, and all these articles are related to concepts that were discussed in the classroom. So please do let me know how many of you have read those articles, and were those articles important for UPSC? Second point, second question, were those articles important for UPSC? And third, were those concepts or the, let's say, articles covered in Hindu newspaper? Think of that also, because most of you are dependent only on Hindu. Your argument is I'll read only Hindu. But tell me, if you stick to only Hindu, are you not missing lot of current affairs related to Indian economy? That is my concern with Hindu newspaper. That is the only concern I have with Hindu newspaper. I've given you a lot of articles, and if you check these articles have come in the newspaper in the last 2 to 3 weeks. That's it. Nothing, not even more than that. Last 2 to 3 weeks. So that is a precise reason. That's a precise reason. Read those articles. Understand. Then you will realize, okay, to what extent what you're reading in the classroom, you can apply it in real events or real life events. Okay, now let's start. Right? Let's start. How would the recent phenomena of protectionism and currency manipulation in the world trade affect macroeconomic stability in India? Now, please do let me know if government of USA will impose protectionist policies, tariff barrier, non-tariff barriers. Will our exports be affected? Of course, yes. Of course, yes. Will our exports be affected? Of course, yes. If Federal Reserve will go for federal tapering, will it have an impact on currency stability in India? Right? Of course, yes. We have discussed all of it. Right? So I hope you understand this. Any policy that is taken by the central banker or central government of other countries, which will have an impact on their trade, which will have impact on their currencies, their monetary policy, etc. It is, whether you like it or don't like it, it is going to have an impact on India's stability. How so? If India's exports become very difficult to reach USA, right? Are you people reading Red Sea issue? Right? So India's exports reaching, let's say, the European countries, reaching USA becomes very difficult. Exports will come down. What will happen to production in India? What will happen to employment in India? What will happen to investment in India? What will happen to GDP of India? So think of those terms. Please think of those terms. All of them are interconnected, right? So focus areas, what is the impact of protectionism on trade, on competition, stability in India? I just mentioned that. Impact of currency manipulation. If China will go for devaluation, there's an allegation. I hope you understand. There is an allegation. If China will go for devaluation, don't you think that will affect India's trade? Because we are having trade relations with China. There is also accusation that China uses or abuses the free trade agreements that we have signed with other countries to route their products into India. Rules of origin are abused by China, etc. Right, so competitive manipulation, right, such as devaluation will also have an impact. What about federal tapering done by USA? Even the federal tapering will also have an impact on investments in India. It will create volatility in the financial market. It will create volatility in the forex market. It will lead to, right, depreciation of Indian rupee. It will lead to depletion of forex reserves, etc. So I hope you understand there's a very close linkage between what is done by trading partners of India with the stability in India. So I've discussed the same thing. Please have a look at it. Okay. Right. There was one more question, I think. Let me check. He has put only one question. Right. I believe there was one more question, but anyways, there is one more MCQ which appeared last year in the prelims. Right. Straightforward. Nothing difficult in this. Straightforward, and only for one question. I don't want to start polling here. Which one of the following activities of RBI is considered to be part of sterilization? You tell me. Please look at the points and tell me which one of the following activities of RBI is considered to be part of sterilization. Which is considered to be part of sterilization. Conducting open market operations, oversight of settlement and payment systems, debt and cash management for the central and state governments, regulating the functions of non-banking financial institutions. According to you, which of these is part of sterilization? Can I say point A? Most of you are going for B, C, D. What about point A? Open market operations. My dear, last week only, I did not use directly open market operations, but you tell me, is it OMO or not? Last week, if you remember, we discussed the role of RBI. What is the role of RBI in stabilizing exchange rate? Correct, we discussed that. And I said, at certain points of time, at certain points of time, there'll be a sudden inflow of dollars in the market, and as a result of this, dollar supply becomes very high, rupee supply becomes very low. And in other instances, rupee supply to the market is very high, rupee supply is very high, dollar supply is very low. Now, because of RBI's intervention, in the forex market, don't you think at certain point of time, RBI will, right, basically to reduce the appreciation in dollar, will start selling dollars and take out rupees, and other times they will start selling rupees, right, and take out dollars. Opposite can also be done. But whenever RBI will sell rupees to take out dollars from the market, rupee supply in Indian market will increase, because forex market is also part of Indian financial system. Rupee supply will increase, and when the rupee supply increases, is there a danger of inflation being caused? Correct? Is there a danger of inflation being caused? Yes, there is a danger of inflation being caused. And I said, at that point of time, what RBI does is, RBI will sell bonds to banks, because banks are part of forex market. RBI will sell bonds to, right, the banks and take out rupees from the system. So on one side, RBI will sell rupees, purchase dollars. This will increase rupee supply. On the other side, RBI will sell dollars, take out rupees. Can I call this a second system as open market operations? Let me know. Can I call the second system as nothing but open market operations? RBI selling bonds, taking money from the banking sector. That is nothing but open market operations. And some of you are interestingly asking now, what is open market operations? Open market operations is a process conducted by RBI, under which RBI will either sell or purchase bonds from the market. Under open market operation, RBI will either sell or purchase bonds from the market. That is called as open market operation. Right? So right option for this question will be option A. Sterilization is option A, conducting open market operations. Anybody has a doubt even now? Please do let me know. Anybody has a doubt even now? Okay, so this is what I wanted to discuss. Last point. Arre Baba, what is sterilization? Very bad. Some of you are not revising it. Please revise. It's hardly been 5 days that we have discussed sterilization. Already I've forgotten. I don't know what you read, how much you are able to remember. This is very, very bad if you ask me. Because if you're not able to recollect in 5 days, you're going to write exams after 5 months. What will you remember? What will you remember? We have discussed the idea of sterilization last week only. Okay. So last point, please have a look at the picture. Last point, after this I'll stop. Please have a look at the picture. Public distribution system, right, again related to ONORC. From farmer, again nothing new. Whatever I discussed so far under agriculture, I'm consolidating it. From the farmer, center will purchase food grains. Food Corporation of India will purchase. From Food Corporation of India, the food grains will be allocated to the state government. Please have a look at this. Allocation at issue price. The state governments will set up fair price shops. And from these fair price shops, beneficiaries will be purchasing food grains. That's it. Sequence is very simple. Do not complicate it. Center will purchase, give it to the states. States will identify and distribute food grains. Done? So let me stop now. I'll not discuss anything else. Let me stop. Tomorrow we'll start from this slide. Food subsidy slide. This is where we are going to start tomorrow. Now, before I wind up the session, please do let me know if there are any doubts. I'll resolve, then close the session. Please enlist why other farmers are lagging behind receiving MSP benefit. Point number 1, all the farmers may not cultivate sufficient quantity to take it and sell it to FCI. Because point is, most of the farmers in India are small and marginal farmers. Most of the farmers are small and marginal farmers. And because they are small and marginal farmers, the quantity they are producing will be very, very limited. Very, very limited. And if the market, that is where FCI is present, if the market is far away, farmers might simply say there is no point in taking all the way. Cost of transportation is very high for me. That could be one of the reasons. Second reason could be they are cultivating, but this crop is not covered under MSP. So they will also not get the benefit. They are farmers who are cultivating, but this year, Government of India doesn't want to procure this crop. Can I give you one example? Let me see how many of you are reading newspapers. Can I give you one example? Couple of months ago, was there a friction between the state government of Telangana and the central government regarding one type of rice quality procurement under MSP? Let me see. Was there a friction between the central government and the state government regarding a type of rice which is covered under MSP? That is parboiled rice. Central government says, this year I don't require parboiled rice. Right? This year I don't want to procure parboiled rice. Why? The quantity which is already there with me, the amount of rice that is there with me, that is sufficient for this year. I will not procure it. So there are multiple reasons why all the farmers who are cultivating may not get the benefit of MSP. Okay. What is sterilization? Okay. Okay, the student is asking what is sterilization. In fact, two students are asking. Anyways, sterilization simply means it is a process wherein RBI, because RBI is intervening in the forex market, RBI's intervention might lead to change in money supply. I'll repeat the statement. It is a policy wherein, or it's a process wherein RBI's intervention has led to change in money supply, and RBI will conduct open market operations, that is basically sell bonds and reduce money supply to control inflation. That is called as sterilization. Okay. Please clarify that are we need to read Hindu, Economic Times, Mint, all of these? My dear, I cannot say you should read all the newspapers, but definitely I'll say you'll have to read at least one more apart from Hindu. I'll tell you this with guarantee. Okay, I don't expect, and that's not possible. I know that also. It's not possible for you to read, let's say, 5 newspapers or 6 newspapers a day. In that case, you'll end up reading only newspapers, nothing else. So my argument is, apart from Hindu, because Hindu does not cover all the important economy related articles. Hindu does not cover all the important economy related articles. My recommendation is read at least one newspaper for, let's say, apart from Hindu, at least for 10-15 minutes. Because I'll give a very simple example. If you take a newspaper such as Financial Express, whole newspaper will not be important. Hardly 1 or 2 articles will be important. And that should not take more than 10 or 15 minutes for you. So my recommendation is try to go beyond Hindu newspaper. Try to go beyond Hindu. Don't just stick to Hindu newspaper. Okay. Any other question? Any other doubts? Any other doubts? Please do let me know. Otherwise, I'll wind up the discussion. In our area, the dealer deducts 2 kilograms of grains from every cart order. What should we do in that situation, my dear? Grievance redressal officer is there. State grievance redressal officer is there. State grievance redressal officer is there. File a complaint. File a complaint. Right? They are not supposed to withhold food grains. Right? There is no transparency in that case. Okay. Any other question? Can we wind up the session then? Which newspaper we must read with Hindu? Again, please understand, there are multiple parameters for you to consider. Some of you will simply say, sir, cost is a factor. I do understand, perfectly all right. Some of you will say, sir, I don't want to pay money. Already this is a burden, right? Perfectly understandable. If your argument is, sir, is there anything free of a cost? Financial Express. Financial Express, you can easily register with the website and you can easily download Financial Express newspaper. Okay. Okay, done. So let me stop the discussion today here. And no other questions are there. Let me stop the discussion today here. We'll continue with the discussion tomorrow. We'll start from this slide, food subsidy, right? We'll continue the discussion. Okay. So take care. See you tomorrow. Have a great day.